All right, we're going.
SchmutzCast!
This is SchmutzCast number what?
Is this episode 5?
This is number 5, and
Damn.
wow, holy fuck, we've been doing it over a month now. This is cool.
Consistently, too.
Welcome to our first guest of SchmutzCast.
Thank you. Oh shit.
Turn it up.
Let's go!
Let's go.
To say I'm honored is an overstatement, honestly. No, for real. Thank you for having me. This is super cool. My first time experience doing anything like this remotely. So this is fun.
Dude, I ever since we started doing this, I had 2 guests mainly in mind, and it was you, one of my buddies from work, and, well, I guess 3, and Wyatt. Like, I thought about you 3, and, like, I knew I wanted to have you on first, because I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
We worked together, we've hung out so many times. I met my future wife through you.
Let's go.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That was an orchestration of me and my wife.
Really?
I came to her. She said, "My best friend," and I said, "Whoa, my best friend." He's basically a me, and she's basically a you. Let's get this rolling.
It went rolling.
To be fair, she did like 75% of the work. So I was just.
Hey, but you had to convince me, and that was hard to do at that time.
That was fair.
I was at the time that I was not relationship
I
down.
remember the conversation because you're like, "Man, I don't know," and I was like, "Look, buddy, it's time to nut up or shut up."
we had that
And now you're
conversation.
engaged. Look
I know,
at that.
and I'm so happy.
It's lit.
We're so proud.
And that wedding's about to be
I
lit
remember
too.
because you always told me the stories that you worked for her dad, and eventually I worked for her dad too. But you worked for her dad before you worked with me.
Yep.
And then it seemed like, well,
Talking about, I worked for
you
your
all shut the fuck up?
fiancés.
No, we're just talking.
We're talking about the wedding and the bachelor party.
We're excited
Okay,
for the
we'll
wedding.
talk about
We're
that
excited
after.
for the wedding.
I'm talking to the guests.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
We're listening.
Okay, we're listening.
So
We're
fucking
being
rude.
good little
Rude guys.
I know.
John hasn't even been here for the last 2 episodes.
What kind of
and
Mickey
you're
Mouse
shouting
operation
it
is
He
this?
hasn't said a word.
He hasn't said a word.
gonna
Introduce
get
yourself,
to that.
John. They probably fucking forgot you.
So
Word.
to finish what we were talking about
Yeah.
Sorry.
was that we met that way, that Spencer and his wife thought that we'd be a good match because they both knew her for a long time, and then he met me and we just hit it off at Cutter, and it was a good time. And then he sat me down and he was like, "Look, buddy," because I told him all the woman stories of the past couple years before that. He was like, "Man, you chill the fuck out." And I was like, "You know what? You're probably right." And then me and her just hit it off, and now you all know her as the peach that she is.
Wow.
Absolute peach.
Peach.
Lovely lady.
What a lady.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
What a
Megan.
lady.
We love Megan.
Hi, Megan.
There's the camera.
Hey, Megan.
Does she watch
Hey,
this?
Megan.
She does watch.
She does watch it? I was curious.
Well,
She doesn't
listens.
give a fuck.
We're sorry that Lucas makes you watch these.
I wasn't
Megan.
sure if it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, I encourage you.
Well, with the YouTube videos it is, she's like, "I don't do gaming stuff."
Shoot for the moon, honey. You're gonna get it.
You're gonna get it.
Okay, have fun.
She did the stream with me one time.
Oh, I forgot
Really?
about that.
She was on
yeah.
stream and we did Tier Maker. It was
Oh
really
my
fun.
God.
Sounds
A
fun.
lot of people, like, that was, I think, the most viewers. And I said, you get a blonde white girl on stream, you get an instant 5+ viewers just right there.
Absolutely. People love white women, bro.
Okay. All right.
So topics, huh?
Next topic.
So we have a question from our boy Brandon Minyard, a loyal fan to the cast.
What's up, Minion?
He says,
Minion.
every
Shout
time
out,
I hear the word schmutz, I hear of 1930s-esque insults. With that in mind, where did you get Papa Schmutz? So Papa Schmutz, as simply as it gets, is I was plastered drunk, and I said it. I have a thing, and everybody knows it, that I excessively change my gamer tag on Xbox. All the fucking time.
I would
Yes.
I would have an icon pop up. I'm like, who the fuck is that guy?
Who the fuck is Beef Keith? I had some hilarious names, and every single Xbox name I've ever made since my very first one was a drunken thought. Every time.
He's
It's
like,
just
yeah,
being drunk
I got my
and say so.
Xbox when I was 12. Forgot to mention mention that.
Yeah. I never changed my gamer tag till I was 21. The ripe age of 21.
And then it all went downhill.
There was a lot of fun. There was one that was "Get My Dick Wet Boy" in exact letters, not misspelled, no numbers.
I can't believe they let you have that.
Well, you know what they let me have right now? You know the poster for the new King Kong movie where he's just a shadow standing? There's a meme of the shadow is his dick.
Just slanging hog.
And they have
What
not
is it?
pulled it down. I've had it for like 6 months and they've not pulled it down.
Size of a semi.
Wait, so what's the actual name?
There's gonna be Microsoft
Oh, wait, yeah,
representatives.
On Xbox?
It's still
Well, you don't have
Papa
to
Schmutz,
say
right?
it.
Well, they see it on stream. It's Papa Schmutz.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's the whole point, yeah.
Okay,
Papa
okay.
Schmutz is my Xbox name.
Yeah.
Friend me on Xbox.
You're gonna have Bill Gates knocking on the door like, we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, Microsoft representatives are like they're like watching this right now, and they're like, "Fuck, find him,
He's
him,
got
and
King
delete
Dong
him."
as his picture. What do we do? What do we do, Bill?
I thought it was gonna be Dong Kong. You know? King Dong.
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong. So yeah, but in the simplest terms, Papa Schmutz came from me being drunk as shit and thinking it was funny, and I write them down in my notes, and then I just peruse through them every once in a while. I'm like, you know what? I'll spend $10 to change my name to that.
That's worth it.
It's worth it to me.
What's $10?
So you wanted to light up John a little bit, so I'm full for that.
Bring it on. I deserve it.
Let it on.
John will.
John,
John.
first of all, you missed 2 episodes.
2 of them.
That's
Those.
unforgivable in itself.
That's
and
a
earlier,
hard thing to
before
get
we
over.
started
Capital
recording,
offense.
we referenced something that we talked about 2 episodes ago, and we realized John hadn't even been following the fucking podcast
He's
while
not
he's
in
been
on the war.
gone.
He's not in on
He's
the
not
war.
even in on
This pains
the
us, John.
inside jokes that we've been running with this entire time. How do you feel, John?
That would,
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
I'm Papa to you, bitch.
that would be like you.
Forgive me,
coming to
Papa, for I have sinned.
I love it.
Oh,
Could that
I
just be a
love
segment where people send in their confessions and
Please.
and they either get the bat or the nah?
we should do confessions.
If you send in confessions to Papa Schmutz,
We won't say your name.
We
Send
won't
in
say your
confessions.
name, but we will say your sins.
We won't judge you unless you deserve to be judged.
Well, no, we will
we're just
judge
gonna
you.
decide
We
if
will
you go to
judge
heaven
you.
or hell or not. I mean, that's it.
I mean,
That's all we're gonna do.
I mean, everybody else does it
You
anyway.
going to the Schmutz heaven?
Schmutz heaven or King Dong hell?
Via
Like,
hell.
I mean, we're not gods, but we'll pretend to be, and we'll judge you. We will. Judge
I mean,
you. Yeah.
I feel like I could be a pretty good god.
Well,
if you ask
okay,
me.
if somebody, you know what? We'll wait for to see.
I think we're slowly losing the Christian fan base.
Well, let's
Christian
lose them
base that
even
we
more.
never
I mean, I'm
had.
still here.
My man Spencer,
Yeah.
you are an avid reader of the cut books of the eternal Bible.
Yeah, I do in fact have God and anime on my side.
Yes.
There's so many cut books, but the only one that I know the most about, saying I know a little bit about it, is the cut book of Enoch.
So what's some like cliff notes on that are just some weird shit? Because I
So,
know
I've
there's
never
some
heard of
weird
that. I've never
shit.
heard of
The
that.
weirdest shit that stuck out to me
Actually,
from Enoch.
can you describe for Jordan what these books are and what the Book of Enoch is?
Okay, so
Yeah, I've never heard of it
a
at all.
long time ago, I don't remember the specifics off the top of my head, but
1996.
back in 05, like literally a council of clergymen and all kinds of people got together and like, look, we're gonna get together and find out what is the real canon of the Bible, right? So they were throwing out all the books they had. One of them was Enoch, and in Enoch it describes the actual reason why the earth was flooded.
Oh, Jesus.
That being so, like, there's a part in it saying like it was after post-creation, pre-flood, right? It's saying angels came down to earth and said, "Hey, there's some fine-ass bitches on this planet." Oh yeah. So they had children with them, which were called Nephilim. Nephilim are giants.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
David and Goliath, anybody? Giants. The fact that the Smithsonian had a giant skull and they smashed it and nobody talks about it?
Wait, what? That happened?
That's in fact.
Say, don't
Back in
gloss
the
over
early
that. Don't
1900s,
gloss
there was
over
a
that.
giant skeleton and some dude smashed it because it didn't fit the evolution theory of the time.
Oh,
Nobody talks about it.
damn!
But you
The
know,
fuck?
But you know,
That's hard.
You
That
know,
sounds interesting.
That's
you know.
wild.
yeah.
Smithsonian.
There's some weird shit out there.
Expose the Smithsonian. Expose them.
Cancel the
Title of episode
Smithsonian.
5, Expose the Smithsonian.
I mean,
They let us in for free, but what aren't they telling us?
well, we already got the full answers at Night at the Museum 2.
I mean,
Battle
yeah,
of the
you're right.
Smithsonian.
Oh.
The real lore of
Yeah,
the Smithsonian.
the movie Hollywood didn't want to be released.
Ben Stiller knows everything. He's in on all of it.
Bro,
I mean,
that's his best movie.
He's
You're
the
gonna
one
be
that smashed
honest
the
here,
skull,
right?
dude.
Let's be
But
honest.
Ben
that's
Stiller
his-
said no more.
if we're talking about best Ben Stiller's Ben movies, we can't talk about Tropic Thunder and say not
Oh,
best
that's the
movie.
Okay.
best.
Tropic
That's
Thunder's
100%.
fucking
I don't know.
It's-
Night at the Museum.
RDJ
bro?
and blackface, bro.
And he gets away
Yeah, he got away
with
with it. Oh god.
What a guy!
I always forget about that because whenever I first watched that movie, I did not know that was Robert
Well,
Downey
yeah,
Jr. till the
yeah,
end.
bro.
I think
yeah.
that was the time when everyone was like, "Yeah, that's funny," and no one just kind of realized what exactly was going on.
yeah.
What it
Tom
entailed.
I didn't know Tom Cruise was in the movie for the
Yeah.
longest time. I didn't know that was
He's
Tom
really
Cruise.
fucking-
Dude
he's
put
angry
his
as
soul
hell
into that.
movie.
Less
The fucking United Nations get a binding contract. Scorched earth, motherfucker. He was just having a good time.
Oh hell yeah, they all were. I feel like.
Especially like when he's like dancing and shit at the end.
Oh, dude, killing it. He didn't even know the cameras were on. Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I thought.
That'd be funny as shit. That was
That'd be incredible.
So, movie fact I learned today that I just want to bring up because it's fun. Did you all ever see the Punisher movie from 2005? Or
With,
2004? It was Thomas something. Thomas Lane or something?
Wait, is that the movie
They-
where like,
they've
he
made, like,
jabs him
4
with a
different
popsicle,
Punisher movies.
And then he thinks it's hot metal.
I don't remember.
I think I have seen
What kind
parts
of
of
movies
that.
have you been?
Well,
on?
there's
No,
a
like,
scene
he has a
with
guy-
Kevin Nash. Everybody knows who Kevin Nash is, right? The wrestler, the tall wrestler guy that's in a lot of movies as the big bad guy.
Vaguely.
Okay, so in that movie, the Punisher goes up with a butterfly knife and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna stab him." Goes to stab him. The actor didn't know that they
Oh,
didn't
no.
replace it with a fucking fake knife. Stabs him, and Kevin Nash is like a pro wrestler, so his adrenaline is like ready to go. He gets stabbed, continues the scene, and the next part of the scene is them pulling the knife out of him like that, and he's got a
Yo.
smile on his face the entire time. And I just figured out today that he actually got stabbed.
So it was a real knife?
It was a real butterfly knife that went right here,
That's wicked.
Sheesh.
and he just pulls it out
That's
with a
like
smile on his
That's
face.
like a couple inches from the kill zone.
I know.
right here. Like,
And he said, the director said, "We're gonna take a day on that." The other guy that didn't realize it was a fake knife apologized a ton. He
Yeah.
holds no malice towards him.
sure.
But he said the director called it a day and bought Kevin Nash a case of beer. Here, you got stabbed.
That seems fair.
I would say that's what I'd want.
that's
in
an
that
incredible
He's like,
trade.
"Sew it the
That's an
fuck up
incredible
and
trade.
go home."
The best trade deal in history.
situation.
You receive a stab wound,
So we got
I
off.
receive a case of
a case of beer.
We got off of the topic of Enoch. I want to know
Yeah,
more
yeah,
about
yeah.
this
Yeah.
book
Back to
of
Enoch.
Enoch.
Okay, well
I'm
that was
all in on this.
The craziest part to me about it is that the Bible itself is a collection of books written by people a long time ago.
Yes.
But why do people now are like, let's leave those parts out? That's the
Yes.
part that I don't fully vibe
Yeah.
with.
So why do you think they cut him out? If you even want to talk on that.
Well,
that
maybe
topic.
just because it doesn't support certain views the church may or may not have at this point in time.
So what are some stories in this book of Enoch that are like? So you said the giants. Is there anything that pops out in your mind?
The only other book is the man named Enoch. Because, like, he was just, him and God were so chill. God was like, you know what, you're fine. Just takes him straight to heaven. Doesn't even die.
Oh,
So he
God.
never knew death. He just straight elevator up. And I thought the concept of that was just, like, so crazy.
fucking insane.
Like, what must that feel like? Does your stream of consciousness ever, like, stop? Or are you just, like, here, there?
Yeah.
Just a regular Tuesday.
Well, I feel like I think about this a lot. Like there's so many different ways that the afterlife could be. Like, you think like that there's a chance you just don't exist. You just cease to exist. There's a chance that you go to this magical heaven, and then there's a chance that you are just like, there's reincarnation. There's the thought of that. There's all kinds of different ways that humans have described the afterlife, and it's crazy that just nobody knows. Nobody knows.
I kind of like that.
You
though.
will.
You'll figure it out one day.
You wait long enough, you'll find out.
That's kind of nice. We don't know
Hold
what's
that
coming.
thought.
I feel like it would be so boring if we knew.
I definitely feel like
Your
there'd be
whole
more
life is
suicide.
just building up to some
It would change a lot.
A lot.
fucking moments that you're like, oh.
That's a big thing with Christianity is that at one point God gave humans free will.
Yeah.
Because up until that point, like, were we even alive?
Yeah. Yeah. Are you sentient if you have no, like? Well, I guess there's some people that don't have free will in the world.
Well,
Free will is more of
Not by their choice.
Yeah. And free will extends more than just like
Being
the
able to
physical
walk in a certain
reality.
direction.
Like free will, even to have the thought of being able to have free will is an act, like an extension of free will in and of itself.
being able to think unsolicited
Yeah,
thoughts.
so like Descartes, he talked about Rene Descartes. He was like, "I think, therefore I am." Right?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, his thought experiment. Because I know we were going to talk about thought experiments, but Descartes he was like, okay, I could be in. He was like, theoretically, I could be in the mind of some demon somewhere, and I would have no idea. But he was like, the only way that I can know that I'm actually like existing in something other than like a demon's mind is the fact that I'm actually able to think for myself. Because if that were true, then I wouldn't be able to.
That's the whole brain in a vat thought experiment.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
We're going to get into both of those things you all just talked about in this list.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and pull it up. 'cause
Talk about a segue.
that was a great segue because...
We get real deep here on SchmutzCast.
That's right.
Deeper
The hard-hitting
we're
comments.
getting nuts this week.
Top 10 thought experiments.
So these are ones that I've vetted and looked through. There's some of them that aren't as good.
I can't wait to
But
see Plato.
This top
The
one,
trolley problem.
The
trolley
I had
problem.
heard of
That's
that
the one that's
before.
everyone's heard about.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
So everybody knows the
classic
trolley
ethic.
problem,
Yeah.
but we're going to go
Classic
through it
ethics
anyways.
problem.
Yeah. I had this in an ethics course in college.
I did too.
Yeah.
Hey, hold on. What is a teaspoon on an empty stomach? Burn 12 pounds.
Apparently it gives you abs.
Hey,
12
man, we
pounds.
Doctors hate him.
Oh, fuck.
might click allow.
Doctors are stunned?
Yo, if doctors are stunned, I'm stunned too.
She's got mud on her face. They're stunned.
We're stunned. She put mud all over her face.
Try it tonight.
So we've got one of the most well-known thought experiments in the... Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry, SchmutzCast. I fucked it up. I
Oh,
didn't
no.
put it on the screen. Here we go.
There we go.
Let me make sure
There we
that
go.
we are...
Whack.
We are good here.
Whack.
Sus.
Sorry
Pitcher
that you all
steps
have
up
to
to
see
plate.
the configuration. while I'm
No,
fucking
your
with it.
settings are going to be spoiled.
I spoiled my
Now
settings.
everyone's gonna know exactly how the SchmutzCast is made.
Everybody knows now. One of the most well-known thought experiments in the field of ethics is the trolley problem, which goes something like this. A madman has tied 5 innocent people on the trolley track. On an out-of-control trolley car is careening toward them. In the moments away from running them over, luckily you can pull a lever and divert the trolley to another track. The only problem is the madman has put a single person on that track. Should you pull the lever?
Pause. Scroll past what it means because I want to get our candid.
I thought the one was like supposed to be someone that you know or like.
Oh,
Those are variations.
Yeah.
Oh, so
But
the
it's
very-
like
just-
the
that was
bare
the very
bones
shot.
of it is there's 5 people on one person on the other.
Yeah,
I'd always
like
seen it as prisoners. That's what I'd seen it as.
Like the one that I saw at first that messed me up the most is that train is going forward, it's going to run over somebody you know, or you hit the lever and it hits 5 people you don't know.
Yeah,
What do you
that's
do?
along the lines
Because
of what
you
I
got
said.
to how it works is you have to like keep adding to
Yeah,
it. So like
yeah.
you start out with just one person versus 5 people, and then you add, okay, well, you know this person, or this person is this, or someone is over here versus over here. So you got to kind of keep adding to it.
So
okay,
there's-
I was going to say, let's just ask, what do you all think is the right choice?
Well, there's
Right here,
one that's
right?
like, because you have to think about it. If we're going in broad spectrum, there's 5 people on one person on the other, and you add the definitions to each. Your answer more than likely is going to change every time. If your family member is on one track, just one, and the guy that cures cancer is on the other side, what's the right choice?
How am I supposed
What
to
choice
know?
am I
Is he
gonna
shouting
make?
at me saying, I cure cancer! Don't hit me with the train!
I'm gonna put my
Yes,
voice
I
cans and
understand
headphones
it's not a
on.
realistic
Is there a
concept,
sign
but-
saying
That's a
what
little-
they've each done in
it's a
their
little- it's a-
lives
it's a
and I'm
little
forced to
sus.
choose?
What if you're a time traveler and you know? It's like Terminator shit.
If you're a time traveler,
Like,
could
you
you
know.
stop the train in the first place?
Yeah, I'd kill the person who made the train.
It's a very bad.
I would kill the person who invented the train.
No trains if I was a time traveler.
That would make my life so much
Kill
easier.
the guy who invented trolleys.
All conductors will die.
I think the biggest part about the trolley problem is that the thing that nobody else brings up. Just say bare bones, 5 people, one track, you hit the track. Sorry. 5 people, one track, you hit the lever, it goes to one track. with one person. The thing that nobody else brings up is that you yourself have to make an action to make that happen.
Yeah.
Because you're taking it upon yourself to be like, no, those people don't deserve it. Otherwise, some people could be like, it's not my problem.
Yeah.
If I don't do anything, it's not my it's not my fault.
Choice.
It's not my fault. But then it goes back to what's the ethical choice, like numbers wise, because you still yourself have to make that action, which even though it is the moral option, it is still immoral.
Oh yeah, you still are killing them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You are making the choice of their life,
but it's just like utilitarianism. It's like what's for the greater good.
Yeah, it's like one of those things you could talk about forever and never find the right answer, which is very cool.
This one's
the
fun
cow
to me.
in the field.
That's just me just stumbling out the door.
So I'm gonna read it the way they
Love
said it.
epistemology, yes sir.
So one of the major thought experiments in epistemology,
The study of knowledge.
study of knowledge.
Yes, sir.
It's kind of an oxymoron.
Cow in the field.
Redundant. Is that what it,
Oh, I love epistemology.
It concerns
Can't even
a
lie.
farmer who is worried his prize cows wandered off. When the milkman comes to the farm, he tells the farmer not to worry because he's seen the cow in the nearby field. Though he's nearly sure the man is right, the farmer takes a look for himself, sees a familiar black and white shape of his cow, and is satisfied that he knows that the cow is there. Later on, the milkman drops by the field to double check. The cow is indeed there, but it's hidden in a grove of trees. There is also a large sheet of black and white paper that was caught in the tree, and it is obvious that the farmer mistook this for his cow. The question then is, even though the cow was in the field, was the farmer correct when he said he knew it was there? Because he didn't see the cow, but the cow was there.
See, here's what I look at it. Say I'm the farmer who owns a cow. I'm not gonna give a fuck if the guy was right or wrong. I'm just happy that I found my cow.
Yes,
Yeah, but that's not what
the
this is
question.
asking.
It's the thought of, was he wrong or was he right? Yeah, the cow was in the field, but that's not what he saw. So was he wrong or was he right?
But do we have to say if he was
That the
wrong
cow
or
was
right
in the
though?
field?
Like, do we have to
That's
decide
That's
if he
what the
was?
thought
or the-
experiment is asking you to
Or
find.
was the paper just
But-
it happened
Because,
to be there and that might have been what he saw? I'm just making sure I understand
the whole
correctly.
thing is that the farmer passes, he sees this piece of paper, does not see the physical cow, but the piece of paper looks like a cow, so he's like, cow's over there.
so like he saw the sheep, but then the cow could have come in like later.
Or the cow, I think the way they have it on here is that the cow was behind the piece of paper in some weeds that you could not see it, but it was there. But he did not see the cow. So when he says that the cow is in the field, is he right or is he wrong?
But who's to say that that piece of paper was there when the farmer when the guy went
The
past it?
article
the
says that.
milkman.
True.
But not the farmer who owns the cow, the guy who saw
The milkman.
Okay, the whole thought is the milkman did see the actual cow. When the farmer goes by to double check because he doesn't believe the fucking milkman,
I
he
wouldn't
goes
either.
through there. Which why would you believe a milkman?
Why would you believe a milkman?
So the
probably
farmer
fucking
goes
your
by
wife, dude.
and he sees this piece of paper. He sees the piece of paper, but he doesn't see the cow. So was the farmer wrong or was he right? And you could go either way, really. He was right. The cow was there, but that's not what he saw. Or he could say the cow wasn't there because he didn't see the cow.
I think what it is like in the grand scheme of things he was wrong, but he himself knew he was right. And it's two different perspectives
Yes.
there.
Yes, you are absolutely right. The ticking time bomb is one that's like,
Oh jeez.
it's kind of boring.
Yeah, are we gonna skip
Yeah,
that?
city's about to blow up.
Skip it.
Skip it. Fuck
skip.
it. Skip it.
We're gonna skip it.
Wasn't that just a-
Einstein's beam?
Oh yeah, I've heard about this.
It's basically so I'll read it, but it's not really a thought experiment. It's not like asking yourself a question. It's like telling you that if a guy is going at the speed of light next to a beam of light, that beam of light is going to look like it's standing still to him, but to us it's going to look like it's going the speed of light. It's just a change in perspective.
You know,
Yeah.
the problem.
And both are correct.
So the question is like, what would that look like though?
No, the question is which one is correct. Are they going like super fucking fast or are they sitting still? In your perspective, if you're watching it, they're going the speed of light.
Yeah.
But in his perspective, he's going the speed of light next to light. It looks like the light is sitting still. But both perspectives are correct. But which one's real?
More than anything, I'm just curious what like light would look like if you're going the exact same speed.
It's
as
an
it.
interesting
probably
problem.
pretty
Yeah.
bright.
Yeah.
It'd be
You
pretty
know?
fucking bright.
You know,
Yeah.
the problem with moving at the speed of light, you live in darkness.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
I saw that. I saw
Jesus
that.
Christ.
I saw that
Oh my
on a picture of a kid in a Sonic outfit, just looking sad as fuck. And I was like, "Oh man, that hit me where I live." It's like that thing of like you can be looking at a star in the sky and you're like, "Man, that's pretty. That star's been dead for 10,000 years. We're just seeing the light of it."
It's kind of creepy.
Like
to
that
think
shit's
of that.
crazy.
I love it.
It's
Very
so
I
weird.
love
There's
it.
so many different things in the just.
The known
How?
universe.
Well,
Space scares the shit out of me.
I swear to
It does,
God,
but it's
bro.
so cool.
Because before I saw like
It's so
Alien,
cool.
side note, my favorite horror movie of all time. But
I could
do you know the tagline for that movie?
What?
In space, no one can hear you scream.
Cool.
And I was just like, oh my god.
Badass.
My balls.
Did you
Where'd they go?
Did you guys see that audio recording where they took? It was the sound of space where they basically took the sound waves that were bouncing around.
Oh,
and they
made
actually
a song
like,
about it. It was stars, light coming in from stars, and they put a chime sound to each one in different notes. And
No,
made
it
a
was
fucking.
it was like white noise almost. Like it was supposed to be the sound of space. Like it was actually like sound things that they recorded in
and
space.
it made it into piano.
No, like
No. It was just
like-
the raw recording of space.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was gonna say there's one that they made into a piano
no,
song.
yeah,
and
it's
it
not a
sounds
song.
fucking crazy.
It's not.
Yeah,
it
no,
probably is.
It's very atonal.
That's up there with the
Yeah.
sounds they capture like
Oh,
way under
I
the
love
ocean.
it.
Yeah,
Yes, dude,
yeah,
that
yeah.
shit's creepy to me. The ocean
Like-
is probably creepier to me than space.
I hate the ocean.
The bloop.
Oh, he's got the
Fuck,
last.
that's what I was about to bring up.
bloop.
I almost call it the whoop.
Man,
So
God,
can
I
I
got
get
more
can I get an
big
explanation of the
asses.
bloop?
It's just a sound they picked up and they have never found the source of it.
It's like one of the loudest sounds they've ever picked
Yeah,
up on
well,
Earth.
louder than any whale ever recorded. And they don't know where it came from.
What was it, like off of like Alaska or something like that? It was off the coast of somewhere.
Yeah.
It was like
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something's floating around down there for
Dude,
you.
I don't know about all that, man.
Dude,
That's creepy.
it's kind of
This-
nuts to think of what kind of big creatures could be in
Places
the ocean
we
that
can't reach.
That's why I hate the
I
ocean.
love it.
I hate the ocean.
You
more
won't
than
see me
anything.
going past 3 feet.
Yeah, knee
Ever.
deep. Knee deep is the deepest I'll go in the fucking
'Cause
ocean.
you know
I don't know. I go swimming in the ocean, but like I'm not gonna go where it's like fucking. I would fall for like
What?
an hour. Like if it's that fucking deep, I don't
Oh,
want to
like
be
if the
there.
water
What's the
wasn't there.
difference?
If I could land there and there's like I would probably say I'd go somewhere where it's like maybe 8 feet above my head.
Oh,
because that's
I'm
what
out.
I could swim
I'm
back
out.
up to.
Well, the fact is, like, shark attacks, the chance of a shark attack spike past 3 feet.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me. Some dude is taking you out by your knees.
Yeah.
You know, the most surreal moment that I had in the ocean was I was deep sea fishing with my brother-in-law's family that lives in Florida, and
Shout out
shout out Chuck, yeah.
Shout out Chucky boy.
So we were drunk as fuck, on this boat, because Chuck's family likes to party.
Hell yeah.
So
Chuck's a partying man.
we're sitting on the top. He's got this really nice he's got a really nice boat that's got like a second deck up top, and it's got like whole steering wheel up there. Well, I'm up there taking a nap, right? And we're out in the ocean, like
Just out there taking
just
out.
out there. He's just driving to like another fishing spot, and Chuck's up there hanging out with me, and he wakes me up, and he's like, or no, it was Chuck's brother. He wakes me up. He's like, hey, you need to wake up. Just jump in the water. So me half asleep, I'm like, okay, and I don't realize what the hell is going on. So I jump off the top of this boat into the water. Once I hit the water, or like while I'm in the air, I'm realizing like, holy shit, I just jumped in the ocean. There could be fucking sharks. They probably chummed the water for catching some fish or something.
You
So
just took it out.
I beelined back to the boat. But like that was the most like surreal moment in the ocean that I had.
Were
like,
you like? Could you see land from where you were?
No.
Holy
That's fucking
shit!
scary.
No.
I'm
Yeah,
out.
that's scary.
No, I'm out.
I don't like
It's the
that.
ocean.
I'm out.
Yeah,
I'd
it's the
probably
ocean.
do it, but I would be scared.
You're more likely
You know what
to-
we did
to
see,
die-
though?
You're more
You ever
likely
seen,
to
like,
die from your
water
refrigerator
spouts?
falling on you than you are from a shark killing you.
I'm not worried
Like,
about sharks.
I don't know about
No.
that.
You
You
worried
see a
about
lot of news stories about sharks fucking biting people.
I mean,
Because those are more
Yeah,
interesting
hey,
than
so,
refrigerators killing
it's an
people.
interesting
Hey, New
story,
Yorkers
you know?
bite more people than sharks do,
Yeah,
all right?
bro.
You won't
But that
see me.
doesn't change the fact that sharks are fucking dangerous. I hate when people use that response.
Yeah, of course they're fucking dangerous.
They're like, oh, more people get fucking struck by penis than by shark.
Bro, we
That's
gotta
actually
drive,
probably
like,
true,
4
though.
fucking-
That's probably
We
true.
have to drive like 4 fucking states away to go see a shark in person, bro. Like, we are fine.
Well, yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
worried
what
about
if
him here.
What if Sharknado happens, bro?
If
We're in
Sharknado
Tornado
happens,
Alley.
I'm killing myself. if
You
I
know,
do that.
when
Bro.
we were in the ocean there, the really cool thing like is like the water spouts, like you know how it's like the
Oh, dude.
we saw those.
Oh, those are
We
cool.
saw, like
Those
we
are
saw them
dope.
off in the distance and stuff. Like his dad, he would see one and he would like turn the boat to go drive right towards it.
Badass.
I will definitely say that
Florida
scares
people,
the
bro.
fuck out of me.
Florida man.
These Florida people, I
But
swear.
like, I feel like I really enjoy being scared, so I would do it. But like,
it's like dangerous shit,
That's
though.
white people behavior right there.
No, I'm with
they say
LT
white
though.
people
I'm
have
with
no
LT. I like the
Like,
I
thrill.
like the
Is that a little
thrill.
whirlpool? I'm a hop in it.
Let's see where this goes.
Wait, whirlpools?
Is that what you're talking about?
The water spouts.
Oh, the water spouts. Yeah, you could get close to those, but you don't want to go up to it.
You want to talk about
Listen, I
gone?
don't
Yeah.
think I fully understand what
Well,
you're
like
talking about.
he
Like, it's
said,
just
he
like a
said they're
little-
really not like real
don't suck you
dangerous.
down.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like
Hey,
a
yo.
tornado that'll like suck you.
They don't slurp you down like the hose on the corner.
He said it's just like
yeah.
really strong. It feels like really strong winds. Like if you're out in like a say like or like a thunderstorm like here in Indiana where the rain is just like beating down on you, like the water that's beating down on you. Think about that, but in this motion, in a circular motion more.
Yeah, that
He said
sounds
that's what it's.
Okay,
He
that
said that's
sounds-
what it's
that
like.
Sounds lovely.
But it's like it's. Think about like the heaviest rain though that you felt like
It's super-
where it's kind of like you feel all the drops coming on you, every single drop.
Yeah, it's
like,
a no for me, dog.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
hard.
That's kind of
I
how
would
he
enjoy
described it.
I
That
feel
sounds
like I
fun.
would enjoy it.
It would be my
I
luck to
would
go out
enjoy
to
it.
open ocean first time and then fucking Cthulhu pops up.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You just hit the worst time.
Speaking of Cthulhu, this is a funny side note. A couple
Perfect. Speaking
episode or two
Cthulhu.
ago, when you searched up that certain movie title that was not okay.
Yeah.
You want to see some weird shit?
Yes.
Look up H.P. Lovecraft's cat name.
Oh, we know.
Oh, you know?
Yeah, we
What is
know.
this cat's name?
Oh, you don't want no.
Oh, I have to look it
oh
up.
no,
I'm
you
not
can't-
saying it.
You can't.
Not for the pod to see.
I don't. Yeah, not for the pod to see.
If you want a big old fat cancel, you're gonna.
Yeah, we
Well, it's not
draw.
on screen anymore.
We draw the line. Have you really never?
You
I
don't know this?
I know what it entails.
It's
You
not
grew
good.
up on the internet.
It's not
dude.
good.
Yeah, his cat name
Love-
was the #1 fucking.
Yep. See.
Oh god.
Cat?
There it is. Yep.
Why'd you say speaking of Cthulhu?
Well, because he wrote the Cthulhu
Lovecraft.
books.
Yeah,
Oh, I
Lovecraft
didn't know
wrote
that. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Wait. See what his dog was named.
Jefferson.
Jefferson. He's like, yeah, Clark.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one. This is a fun one.
Yeah,
love this- I love this ship of
sorry to
Theseus.
divert.
So I'm not gonna read this one because I know the description enough. So the ship of Theseus is found and it's put in a museum, but it starts getting older, so they start having to replace boards and fix it as it gets old. At what point does it turn into not being the ship of Theseus?
Once they change the board that has the name on it.
It
Got
probably
him.
doesn't have the name on
Right,
it.
but hold on.
Then how do we know it's
but,
a-
but until that
Checkmate,
point,
philosophers.
but until that point, you would call it the ship of Theseus, though, right?
Yeah.
So what's the intrinsic difference if you just take one board out, right?
I'll tell you, this is how
Right?
I,
Because you've been calling it the same thing the whole time. So what should one more board out make the difference?
When does it become not the ship of Theseus?
I think it's no longer the ship of Theseus once the memory of it is gone, because otherwise it's just a boat.
Okay, that's an interesting point of view. I've not heard that one before
Yeah.
with this.
Yeah.
So you're saying as long as the story of the ship of Theseus is a thing, that no matter what, that ship, even if it doesn't have a single piece of wood on it that was the original, is still the ship of Theseus.
That's right.
See,
That's
I feel
an
like
interesting point of view. I like that.
the minute you change the first board on it, it's changing.
Right.
Well, see,
So
that's what I was starting to think.
Okay.
Because-
Well, let's
Also,
hit the
if-
second half. Let's hit the second. So Thomas Hobbes, one of my favorite philosophers, shout out Thomas Hobbes. He said,
Thomas Hobbes.
Thank you,
It-
Mr. Hobbs.
thank you. Hobbesian philosophy is
Mr.
great.
Hobbes.
But so he said, if you take the ship of Theseus, right, you take out all the old boards and you build an entirely new ship, right, and you still had the ship that you were replacing the boards on the whole time. Which one's the real ship?
Yep.
The one made up of all the old boards, or the one that you'd been replacing with new boards in the whole time, and still calling it the ship of Theseus, even though this new one seems like it might really not be the ship of Theseus, and the old one might be, but you were calling it the ship of
So
Theseus.
say
I'm
you
thinking
have a
that-
Corvette. Say you have a Corvette, and they reinvent all those Corvette pieces, but you have this OG original Corvette, nice as fuck. You got to replace the door on it. Is it still a Corvette? Is it still the OG Corvette that it was? And at what part does it become not that original Corvette that you had?
Well, if you're looking at like old cars, like if you're replacing
It's just
parts,
See, here's the
I know.
here's
Some people would
the
say like
I know,
51%,
I'm with you,
you
though.
know?
Here's-
Once you
They're
take
like
out the
more-
carburetor, then it's a different car
underrated.
entirely.
Yeah.
here's the thing that I think of. Here's the thing that I think of. If it's just an old Corvette that you have, that's not a like historical piece.
Okay, so you think...
But since the ship of Theseus was taken as a historical piece,
Well, I don't
The
think
history-
the ship of Theseus
Yeah, is
was
that-
It's not a
real,
real
but
thing.
It's not
Well,
real,
then-
yeah.
But
what-
if
like,
it was a
if
real
it-
thing, you have the right description.
You just made a
Exactly.
lot of Greeks really angry.
Yeah.
Despite!
no, like how I picture this is I'm thinking of it as
That's where it starts and stops.
That's all it needs.
the word.
That's all it needs.
because how I read this, I feel like I think, okay, this is something like the Titanic or like a really famous ship or
Yeah.
like a really famous
It would be a
ship.
very famous ship.
You know, that's what I think of it as. Once you replace one piece on that famous ship, then I don't feel like it's that. If it's put in now, if it's being used still,
Right.
that's a
Okay,
different
but
story.
Okay, so say you were on the Titanic, right, and they change out a part. Is it not still the? Would you still call it the Titanic even if you didn't know the part was changed?
I probably would.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so
that
you're
goes
on the
to-
Titanic.
that
You're free
goes to-
float. You're floating.
Well, just for
But see,
John,
here's the
naming,
thing.
Naming must have more of an intrinsic value with the parts than themselves, I guess.
So,
what do you?
but with the ship of Theseus, you said one board swapped, and it's not the ship of Theseus anymore. But now with the Titanic, you just said it would still be the Titanic.
You'd still call it the Titanic, but it's not the original Titanic.
But at what
even
point?
if it's a little lug nut, it's still not the Titanic.
So,
I think if you're changing like boards on it, like making it like changing stuff to where it's
Changing
going to
the
be
structure.
changing structure of it to where it's going to be able to float again, that's not the
what
Titanic.
about the people on it?
I
Would it be
mean,
the Titanic if there
If it
weren't any
wasn't Leo?
people? If it wasn't Leo on that bitch, would it still be
Is
the
it still the
Titanic to you?
you know, I heard
Yeah.
something. I heard something really interesting actually about the Titanic
Oh,
the other day.
Titanic talk.
Apparently,
It's really derivative of Dances with Wolves.
Damn it! Damn it!
apparently the owner of the
I
Titanic.
was getting there. Damn it!
Were you getting to
I
this?
was gonna. You know, if we're talking
Yeah,
about the Titanic, we got a reference
Well,
with another
James-
little piece by James
James
Cameron called
Cameron.
Avatar.
John, you get it if you've been keeping up with the
John, you
A
get it.
podcast.
loving
You get it, John?
movie that Keibler
Listen.
will die
Hold
for.
on.
And I don't know if you knew this or not, but Avatar is actually based on Dances with
Very
Wolves.
you know
derivative,
that?
but it's so good.
Yes.
It's so
Keibler's
John
obsessed with Dances with Smurfs.
Listen, don't say that. They're in space.
I know you're not talking about Nigeria like that.
Smurf was in person. Smurf was on Earth, right?
The Smurfs on Earth.
Smurfs on
Smurf
Earth.
on Earth.
Smurfs is Earth.
This was on Pandora,
Earth be smurfing.
which is a whole nother planet in like a whole nother galaxy.
Yeah, they're trying to get
They're in Alpha
unobtainium.
Centauri. And
Okay, so if an alien pops up here and they look just like you, that's the
Sick.
difference of being a Smurf and a fucking Pandorian.
what? How does that relate to what I was just saying?
How do you say they're different than Smurfs? They're blue people. They do Smurf shit.
Well, because
They're
they're,
just
not
Smurfs.
Because they're like
Is this
9
the
feet
next
tall.
thought experiment?
Yeah. They're just not
Maybe.
Smurfs.
Are they still
Are they
Smurfs
still
if they're blue?
Is everything?
people
Is that
from
is a
Avatar
Bud Light can
Smurfs?
of fucking Smurfs?
I
to you,
can.
too?
I have heard people say, "Throw me a Smurf."
That's
Give me some
dumb.
of that Smurf juice.
That's just.
Have you not heard? I heard that at John's fucking college parties. Throw me a Smurf. It was a fucking
Yeah,
Bud
well,
Light
I
can.
don't-
I
I
thought
don't
it was
go-
funny.
I don't go
love
to
it.
fucking frat parties to try and find the next Einstein here. Not saying that he might not be there, but
That's not where I'm going on first.
The odds aren't high.
Can I continue on what I was saying about the Titanic?
Yes.
So, okay.
Monkeys and
So
tigers.
apparently I heard
It's a perfect title. I feel like somebody's at
That
least
sounds
heard of it.
awesome.
Okay, so John, continue.
I'm sorry, John.
so apparently the owner of the Titanic was J.P. Morgan, right?
The
Really?
bank guy.
Of Morgan and Morgan?
The different JP
Was this
Bank
what you
guy,
were
the
wanting to
bank
talk
guy.
on?
I was making the Avatar joke,
Yeah.
but I know what you're getting at. So,
So-
go ahead.
Morgan of Morgan
So,
and Morgan?
he had a-
Hey, listen up, because
JP Morgan, the bank, the bank.
listen up. This shit is wild. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
I wanna
JP Morgan,
hear
bank
this. I wanna
guy,
shut the fuck
Titanic.
up. I
Got
wanna
it.
hear
JP
this.
Morgan owns Titanic. He also owns another ship very similar to the Titanic, the Olympian. Okay. The Titanic. He was supposed to be on the Titanic when it
Took
shipped
its
off.
voyage. Yes.
You know who else was on all that on the Titanic? All of his competition, all the other like bank owners were on. So he cancels his trip like minutes before it departs, and there's speculation that the Titanic didn't actually sink, that the Olympian sank.
They sent it out knowing it was going to sink.
So the Titanic was not the ship that sunk?
And they used the Titanic name for insurance fraud.
To get money.
Because the Titanic was this brand new ship.
Oh, so nobody would have known if it was
Yep.
really the Titanic.
So it's gone under the ocean. No one's going to go looking.
But I feel, haven't they dove to find the Titanic?
Well, yeah,
now
but
they have, but
It's probably such a similar boat that, I mean,
yeah, it was
people
I heard
aren't
that
gonna
they
know.
were like
Look up the
identical
Olympia.
boats.
Look up the Olympia.
I'll look up
See
the
if you can find a
Let
picture
me
of
make
it.
sure
I
the,
have
the
heard-
cast can still see it. Yes, they can.
Jesus.
if you're looking up Olympians, look up my girl Athena. Shit.
Olympia.
I'm just kidding.
Ship.
Olympia Dukakis?
Olympia
Who the
Dukakis.
fuck is that?
USS Olympia.
No, not the USS Olympia. The RMS Olympic. That's
It's you look at it and you couldn't tell the difference. I think
Royal Your
I think
Majesty
something
ship.
that somebody's point out is
That
that
says Olympic.
the number of stacks,
Is this it?
smokestacks were different or something like that.
Olympia.
Well,
I mean,
they both
I
had
mean,
4
we're in the-
smokestacks, but the Titanic only had 3 smokestacks that
That's what it was.
worked, because the Titanic had the 4th one that was just
I don't
a
want the
fake
Leo
one
movie.
to make it look bigger
That's
and
what
better.
it was. Yeah.
Like make it look more Titanic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
that does.
Titanic-y.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, I've never heard this
Olympic,
at all.
Titanic's brother, sister.
Yep.
Same difference.
Which, I mean, you can kind of see the. There was a photo over here.
Okay.
oh wow!
Yo.
All right.
You all
Yo.
never heard of that?
Yo.
Oh,
I've never heard this at
This is some.
I've-
We're getting into national treasure level conspiracy.
This
This is
national
next
level.
This is-
level.
yeah, Nicolas
Whoa.
Cage.
Yeah, our
You're
next
listening.
guest, Nick Cage, coming
So
in.
Nick Cage about
Dude,
to
if Nick Cage walked in that door, I would shit my pants.
I would literally piss myself.
He's like, I got the original smokestack.
I mean, if we told him that we were shooting a movie, he would apply for it. He's in
See what
everything.
code is in there.
Bro, if
Where's your lemon juice?
why didn't James Cameron make an Olympic movie?
No, he did, but people don't
Because he's
actually
part of
know
the conspiracy.
Yeah, I bet.
He's-
He
James
knows
Cameron had a
J.P.
hand in
Morgan
that. Yep.
it. Yeah.
of Morgan and Morgan.
Those who
Yep.
funded that movie and on the condition that they make a second movie a couple years down the road that was based on J.P. Morgan's favorite movie, Dances with Wolves.
Yeah, see, in full circle, we're all back to monkeys and typewriters.
Monkeys and typewriters. Let's see
Monkeys
what it
and
is.
typewriters,
What is
baby.
monkeys and typewriters?
So, I'm gonna read this one because I don't know if I can explain it.
If you
Very
don't name
Oh.
your new EP, monkeys and
The
typewriters.
theorem states
Yeah, that'd
that
be
an
funny.
infinite number of monkeys were allowed. If an infinite number of monkeys
Burrell.
were allowed to randomly hit keys in an infinite number of typewriters for an infinite amount of time, at some point they would almost surely produce the complete works of William Shakespeare. The monkeys and typewriters idea was popularized in the early 20th century by French mathematician Émile Borel.
Why'd you say it like that?
Because he's
Why
French.
did he say it like
Infinite
that?
agents
Emile Borel.
and infinite time
Emile.
will randomly produce anything and everything.
Yeah. I mean, that's just fact.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
crazy,
yes.
but it's fact.
It's
It's
the
very
craziest.
interesting.
Honestly, I wish they would train monkeys.
So the
like, in
Chinese
English-
room is
in
an
English
interesting-
language.
The government
I
already
watched
is,
this video and I was like,
I'd like to see what they would type
this
up.
is confusing, but like I get it.
Banana.
It
But
kind
it's
of
like
fucks me up, honestly. So have you all heard of the Chinese room?
I mean, I've heard of the Chinese people.
Oh, well, it relates to that.
Shout out to China.
Yeah!
All our watchers.
Shout out to
Whoa.
CCP!
Oh, gosh.
We won't do what Disney does.
We won't talk about the Uyghurs.
FBI's at the door.
Oh, God, the MIB have arrived.
We're never getting sponsored by China now.
Well, in that case. I'm just kidding. I won't go that far.
Oh, God.
The Chinese room is a famous thought experiment first proposed in 1980s by John Searle, a prominent American philosopher. The experiment asks you to imagine that an English-speaking man has been placed in a room that is entirely sealed, save for the small slot in the chamber door. he has with him a hard copy in English of a computer program that translates the Chinese language. He also has plenty of spare scratch paper, pencils, and file cabinets. Pieces of paper containing Chinese characters are then slipped through the slot in the door. According to Searle, the man should be able to use his book to translate them and then send them back as his own response in Chinese. Although he doesn't speak a word of the language, Searle argues that through this process, the man in the room could convince anyone on the outside that he was fluent as a Chinese speaker.
Yeah, they just translate to robotics.
Yeah.
They're saying that that's what robots do. They don't actually, or AI, in
They don't know what they're
They don't
doing.
actually know what they're saying, but they convince us.
Yeah. They're working
Yeah.
within a certain parameters given to look
Yeah.
like they know what they're doing, when in
Yes.
fact they're only following operation.
And I don't know if you know
very
this, but
convincing.
really AI is just monkeys with typewriters. Which is derivative of Dances with Wolves.
Saying that makes me think that we're like monkeys.
You're going to
with
get a very
typewriters.
heated
What if-
email
I feel
from
like
James
everybody
Cameron.
knows Schrodinger's
What if
Cat.
what if a person came up with Shakespeare's whole work, bro? Wow.
That would be William
person does?
Shakespeare.
What if?
Well,
think his name is
what?
Bill
Well, you know what?
Billy Shakespeare.
Who's William Shakespeare, bro? Yeah.
So Schrodinger's
Schrodinger's
Cat,
Cat,
I'm probably
yeah.
going to skip that one. I feel like everybody knows it.
Richard actually like put it in a real life situation for me last night when I was hanging out with him.
I 100%
That I was
Wait,
like,
you had Schrodinger's Cat pulled up with Richard?
we were just talking about
He hung out with
we were
Richard?
talking about all kinds of stuff, and like, you know, like how you just get on tangents with your bros, like you got those late night drives and you're just like talking heart to heart with your bro and you get on these
Can
tangents.
you bring up Schrodinger's Cat?
well he
The
was
back porch
talking
plastic
about
chairs talks.
Yeah.
well, we were talking about like
Yeah,
a certain
so does-
situation, and he said, you know, it's yada 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 yada, like Schrodinger's. I can't even.
Like
Schrodinger's.
Schrodinger's
Like the
cat.
dude's cat, right?
That one guy.
like
that one guy's cat.
like the dude's cat, you know.
Okay, do you remember how he said it?
It was just basically about like the like how some people are just okay with like the unknown, like how they would rather not know the answer to something, and some people like would rather like they can't move on with life
Not knowing.
with the unknown.
I think it's
And
like human beings' desire for the facts.
Yes.
I won't get into specifics of it, but it was just like we were talking about like the unknown versus like the known, like kind of closure versus
I
not.
feel like that's kind of
Yeah.
creepy because I literally had a conversation with Joe the other day when he was over about the exact same fucking thing. Like I even pulled up Schrodinger's
You guys were
Cat
talking about
on here.
Schrodinger's Cat.
And I pulled up even Pascal's Wager.
you were giving
Does
me shit
anybody
for
know
talking about
Pascal's Wager?
Yep.
Okay, do you all know
It
Pascal's
sounds
Wager?
familiar,
Yeah,
but
of
I can't
course.
think of it off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
of course.
Yeah, it's common knowledge.
Okay, so we're gonna do Brain in a Vat, then we're gonna pull up Pascal's Wager, because that keeps opinions out of it. It's just straight up a fucking. I've seen the actual chart that they make out of it. So Brain in a Vat is basically that they make this machine that you put your brain in it and you immediately have just like the best fucking life ever, and it's like what you picture to be heaven is what it is, and you just have that forever. But your brain,
He said, "Keep going."
Keep going.
but your brain is now like in this vat that they're sending electricity to your brain that lets you know that these things are happening. So you feel it, you smell it, you hear it, you taste it, whatever the fuck it is. It's basically heaven. But it's not real, technically. In the sense of what real is, it is not real. But you can either choose to be in it or choose to be not in the vat. If you're not in the vat, you live your life as a human normally. But if you put your brain in the vat, you have heaven.
Well, what
Do
makes
Do you
it
stay
not
plugged
real?
in, or are you unplugged from the Matrix?
Yes, it's basically the Matrix. That's where the Matrix came from.
I know Kung Fu.
Kung Fu.
So like, do you like quote unquote live the rest of your life?
Existence, yes, in the vat.
In the
You gotta
vat?
Get out.
Ignorance is bliss.
Do you
bro.
do you still die like normal? Do you die like thinking like being in the vat?
Presumably, you would live a normal life. That your brain's not gonna live forever.
It perceives a normal life.
It perceives a normal life. Your brain is not gonna live forever. You may live longer having your brain in this electrical vat, but your brain is eventually gonna decompose and be gone. Like
That's the thing. You would never even know.
you wouldn't know.
You would
Yeah.
never know. So I always found like I don't know. It's just
Also, I meant to add this.
Yeah.
In the vat, you don't know you're in the vat.
well, exactly. Yeah.
Once you're
If
in it, you
somebody-
don't know that you
if
made
there
that
was-
decision.
If there was ever, I know we talked about this in some of my like earlier philosophy classes in school, but there were like, you know, we talked about the whole simulation theory. With you know, we talked about a bit of like Leibniz too, but we were always like, if it was ever to the point where simulation theory was actually real, then wait, what the fuck are you all doing? You good? You
Getting
good?
handsy on the
Okay, you good. I was about to say. No, if it ever got to the point where we were in a simulation, it would be too far gone. We would never be able to.
It's like,
to
would you
figure it
would you
out.
want to know?
No, I mean, knowing
Yeah.
even knowing would be pointless because.
Yeah.
Okay, but
to be able to simulate an entire universe, you would have to have unlimited technological power.
yes,
and
but we're
resources.
in this
We would
situation.
be-
We're thinking
we
that
would be
we are.
ants on an anthill in an infinity of
Okay,
knowledge.
think of
Like,
this
we're
world that we
nothing.
have right now, but they have the brain in the vat thing.
Sure.
Everything else is normal, but you have the brain in the vat, and it works exactly like you just stated. That it is like feels like a real universe and everything.
Yep.
So the question is, do you do it and give up the human experience
you would
of
never.
being a
You
human?
wouldn't even have that choice. You wouldn't even ever have that choice.
Okay, but the thought experiment is that you do have that choice to be in the vat or not in the vat. Do you go in the vat and have this perfect life, or do you keep the human experience?
No, obviously you keep the human experience.
I go for the vat.
I'm going in that vat.
I'm going to the vat because
diving in that
Every
you think
time.
you think the vat. Well, if you think that the vat is your human experience,
Yeah.
so you don't know the difference.
Yes, but you're not really human. You are not human. You
Well,
have the
what
brain
makes
there.
us
So,
human?
I
What
think
makes
I
us-
am.
If I
what's
think
the-
I'm human, then
You have
I'm
the
human.
experience of your legs actually moving.
Well, hold
you
on.
think you
somebody,
do, but you
somebody
don't.
can have a human experience without their legs moving. Paraplegics.
Okay, yes.
Canceled.
Have you ever seen have you ever seen those videos where it's
Wait,
like
it's- we
they'll
can't-
put their arm like on the other side and there's like a dummy arm right here.
Oh,
and they'll
dude.
they'll brush both of them and then,
And then they'll
take
just
a
like
hammer
smack
out
the
of
shit
nowhere.
out with a hammer, and they
Yeah.
react every time
Yeah,
because
they
they think it's their arm.
Yeah, because they'll match the sensations going on. They can't see their real hand; they only see the fake one, and they'll take like a feather and like brush it with the feather on both hands at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So your brain perceives that as your real hand,
Sensations
and then they
are-
just
God.
smash it with a fucking hammer.
So in the vat, do you feel that? That's another
Exactly.
question. Do you feel
Yeah,
that in the
would
vat?
it, I mean, I figure you would have to feel pain in the vat for it to
To
be
some
convincing.
degree, yeah.
Well, because
Yeah.
it would have to be convincing,
I think most people,
right? So
would
by
like.
that point, what's the difference? You might as well just live your actual
There's
life.
just people that just have a certain level of cynicism to be like, this can't be real. This is too good.
Yeah.
And I think it's just whether you choose or not to just go along with it, or you're like, oh, there's got to be something else.
Humans are very cynical.
Yeah.
We would figure that shit out
Yeah.
so easily. I feel like if there were a way to figure it out,
Y'all haven't figured it out yet. I mean, what?
I got the
John-
secrets of the universe over here.
John's agent.
Okay, I'm putting
the
this
agent
up.
Or whatever. What is this?
Just, I'm not gonna read it. I'm just gonna tell it to you because this one is one that I kind of feel strongly about. This is the
Yeah, I've seen
violinist
this.
thought experiment.
Haven't heard
So you
this.
have a
Interesting.
famous violinist. We're not going to use the word that comes to your mind when you think of this thought experiment because that's just fucking news to get fucking canceled. So the famous violinist is you get kidnapped. And you wake up and your kidneys are now connected to this famous violinist. Just universally loved. Everybody loves him. Greatest musician of all time. Like, people live off of his music. You're connected to him. They figure out you have the only blood type that will keep him alive. But he has to be connected to you for 9 months. But you have the choice as a human. It doesn't count as murder. You get away with it scot-free. You're fine. You've been kidnapped. They say, sorry, didn't mean to do that to you, and the violinist dies. Or do you stay hooked up to him for 9 months and let him live?
Am I doing it for free?
That's the question.
Oh
That's the
my
answer that everybody always brings up.
Do I get
Is there
the?
money involved, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
it would
think
be
about.
entirely.
I would assume if you're
unethical
being kidnapped,
otherwise.
money is off the table.
So I want
Oh
to
wait!
go
Oh,
around
if you're,
and
if
Oh, I
you're
ask
being
forgot about
kidnapped,
the
if you're being
kidnap part. I
kidnapped,
forgot
no,
about the kidnap
it's
part.
horribly
you
unethical.
wake up and your kidney is now connected to this human, and they
Yeah.
die if they disconnect from you.
Oh,
So
not
I
my
want-
fucking problem. Don't
Before
kidnap
we talk
me, bro.
deeper into this, I want an answer from everybody. So
Okay.
John, you start.
Okay, John. Start.
So I have a couple of questions. Do
Okay.
I reap the benefits of like this of like the
That's something
fame
for
and
you to
stuff and-
negotiate. That can't affect your answer. because that's for you to negotiate. Because what
But
if
it
you
does affect my
negotiate and they
answer.
say no, you don't
It
get any
definitely
money.
does.
Oh, then I'm cutting that bitch off.
So let's just say, let's just go around universally. You don't get any money.
You don't
but
get any
no
this man
benefits,
survives.
and I have to leave my family for that, and I have to leave
No,
my life.
he's like your Siamese twin. He's like connected to you. You
Yeah,
can go around
yeah.
with him. He's just
Sounds
connected
awful.
to you at all times.
Yeah, but I've got to leave my life then.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Okay, Spencer, you got an answer?
Well, the good boy in me wants to say, yeah, I would do it, but thinking about that, like you got to walk away from your own stuff for 9 months. If I somehow had the guarantee that stuff is cool back home, and like he's taking a sabbatical or something,
Yes,
like
yes.
tell my wife and kids I'm okay, I'd probably do it. But there's
See, with that logic, you still like call them and stuff too. And, like,
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
there's
hey,
nothing
like, you
to
still
say
have a
that you
cell
have to
phone.
entirely cut out your family.
hey,
you just
honey,
have to take
I'm
them
on a
with you.
business trip.
Now
A
this
9-month
person is now
business.
connected to you and lives off of you.
But then that means I can't go to work. I can't if they're not
Who
giving me
says?
any money
Who says?
because I can't take that
Well,
violinist
their
with me.
life hinges on you. So it's basically like you're just dragging him around like a pet.
Can I have him on a backpack?
that'd be kinda sick.
Well, realistically, what
Your kidneys are in your back.
If the kidneys are hooked up opposite, I could just strap
Yeah,
them up like an opposite
just gonna be back
Bjorn,
to back.
and then just go back to my day to day.
so you're all his answers.
Do what?
if we're backpack boying him.
Hell no.
Honestly, even then, the fact of the matter is, if he's a famous
Wait, is
musician,
it a he or a she?
Doesn't matter.
She's got,
Oh, it makes a difference.
but it's a she, but she has a boyfriend.
If I'm plugged into her for 9 months, I'm her new boyfriend.
She tells you off the gate she has a
Yeah.
boyfriend.
Here's the thing, though.
I have a boyfriend.
Yeah. You're like, bitch, I'm keeping you alive.
Hear me out. Hear me
That's
out.
somehow not misogynistic, but more misogynistic.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, like, I don't know, man. I don't, like...
Which way does it go? We don't know.
You know, I've heard the J. Cole song, Don't Save Her. She don't want to be saved. Like, no.
If she
No.
says that off the cuff, Brandon
Off the
says,
cuff.
alright, she's out.
Sorry, honey. Like, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
So,
I'm
Jordan,
not
what do you
doing
got?
it. I'm not doing it.
Honestly, if it's a famous violinist, they have a lot of fucking money. They're gonna be
No money involved.
No money
No,
involved
listen, though.
makes the whole situation
like,
way worse.
So their living conditions are probably very pristine, getting all kinds of like nice ass food all the time, all kinds of money coming in from these shows, and if I'm fucking attached to the musician, I kind of reap the benefits as well.
They couldn't
No,
find
but he said
anybody
you don't
else?
reap the benefits.
You live your
I don't-
life. He tags onto your life.
There
I
was
He
thought it
not-
was
doesn't
the other
have a
way around.
life.
So are you doing it just to save
Then what
somebody
the fuck
else?
is the
It's just to save his life.
No.
Well, wait, that completely changed the entire argument, though. If it's if
Okay,
what's the
and-
point of keeping him alive?
Does he
Who
own
cares?
Okay,
Does he
exactly.
own
Okay,
one?
so now we're gonna get into this
I thought
because
the
I'm
whole
gonna bring
argument-
this up. Do any overarching themes come to your mind when we think about this thought experiment? There's a human
Yeah.
that is connected to you
Yeah.
unwillingly,
Yeah.
but you have the choice. And in some things in this world, some people don't have that choice anymore.
I don't know. This is just
I'm-
it's so violating of your body autonomy to just wake up
I think I'm
hooked to
lost.
another person. That's like raping
lost
your
me
kidneys.
Same.
To me.
I'm lost.
Yeah, I'm lost, bro.
Okay.
This is just
I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna say it.
He's gonna
Hot
say,
take.
strap me to those kidneys for
This
9
is
months.
this is a
baby."
thought experiment to get your mind around the abortion of a rape baby.
Oh,
See, whenever you said that, I was kind of getting the sense of that's where that was going.
That's what this is. You've been raped, and now you have this baby that you have no control. You have either the choice to disconnect this human being from you, that you were kidnapped to go through this 9 months,
Yep.
but you have the choice.
My opinion does
Yikes.
not change.
well, at the same time, a lot of people have different interpretations of when life, quote unquote, starts.
I think yes,
Yeah.
that is very true.
You know, 6 weeks in, a dolphin looks like a fucking cat, looks like
But-
a fucking person.
This
You know,
this specifically points towards a rape victim, someone that had no
Sure.
choice.
Sure.
This is very specific to the rape victim side
Oh,
of
this
things.
is very rapey.
So, like, they had no choice. They now have a human attached to them for 9 months. I thought somebody would catch it after I said 9 months.
I was like, in my head, I'm like, this is weird.
That's a specific. I did think like that's
I don't
a
know,
specifically odd amount of time, but I was like, okay, I'll just go
I
on.
mean,
with it.
obviously, you could debate the ethics of it, but
That's not really where I'm going with it. Really, where I'm going with it is to put everybody in the mindset of, like, this is a really palpable way to say, like, what if you had no choice? Like, how do you feel about not having a
yeah,
choice?
but that's a hypothetical. There are choices.
I pretty much completely understood it wrong because I assumed that
This
the
was just a thought
musician,
experiment.
that the musician would still be living the musician life, and I'm just tagging along.
So the thought experiment
getting all
is
the-
to be
the
like it's a
money.
fucking baby in your belly, right?
Right, I
They're
understand
not
that
doing
now.
anything.
Quick bullet point I want to out. We as men will never have to make this decision, so
We're not women.
take our opinions
Yeah.
with a,
Yes,
a
our
very
opinions
light grain of salt.
Legitimately do
no-
not
A
matter at
very
all
light
about
grain of
this
salt,
topic.
but this shit is wild.
Yeah,
So,
I don't-
It's quite the interesting way to go about it, but our opinions as men
but when you,
don't fucking
when you
matter.
put it like that, that's kind of crazy.
It's
Like,
crazy to think about it in this vein.
Yeah.
When I read this one, I was like, "Oh fuck, that's crazy!"
Yeah.
Like, you never think of it that
He's
way.
like, that's what these women folk are really going through.
Hey, I respect women's rights, and I want every woman to have
Well,
the
hell
similar
yeah.
right to everyone else. And I think that
I feel like women should have more rights than men. Let's just go ahead and say it.
yes.
This episode is brought to you by feminism.
All right, Brandon had to dip out, but we're going to continue with the thought experiments with one of my favorites, Roko's Basilisk, which my man Spencer knows plenty about.
Yeah, I
What you got? Give us an
Well,
explanation.
Disclaimer: John and I know nothing about
Yep.
this.
I do, but they
We are
do
coming
not.
into
They-
it
They're coming
virgins.
into it as basic as you all are.
Going into this, I would hate for my first debut on the podcast ring to be a total schizo. But when your boy calls up and says, I need a specialist, I say, what time?
What
Specialist
time
on the
is this?
basilisk, bro.
So,
Roko's Basilisk.
So-
We've been talking about having this topic on the pod since the pod literally started,
We have.
and we were waiting for my man Spencer to be here.
Fun fact: in one of the podcasts, you can actually see Roko's Basilisk in one of the tabs.
Yeah,
'cause
we had it ready to go just in
possibly talk
case.
about.
But we wanted to save it for our mans here.
Go back and find it, and you might get a shout out. Go back and find it, screenshot it, and send it to us, and you might get a shout out.
Dead ass, we will give you a shout out.
I
That'd be
will
kind
shout
of
out.
nothing better to do.
if someone actually does that.
That would be great.
But I feel a responsibility to say this beforehand. When I heard about this information the first time, it was called what the kids call an info hazard. An info hazard is essentially you're not in danger until you know what it is. So if you have a
Yes.
problem with existentialism
Yes.
of anything like that, go pause the video, go drink some water,
Yes.
go touch some grass,
Because this literally, once you hear this, you are now held liable.
go listen to Funtime Emporium. go watch Difficulty versus Enjoyment,
Yes.
and then
hit that shit.
skip ahead like 10, 15.
Yeah,
But
because this is about to get
yeah,
sticky.
because I
think that was
don't
the best way you could possibly plug anything. That was fucking incredible.
because I don't take any stock in this. I just think it's interesting.
I feel
But-
like I take stock in this.
but
I've never
well,
heard
I don't take it
informational
seriously,
hazard.
is what I should say.
That's
So I don't have a
amazing.
problem
So
talking about it.
I'll know if I
info
have-
hazard means you don't. There's no danger to you until you hear it.
Yeah.
I've
Once
never,
you
I've
hear
never
it.
heard that.
Kinda like the
you'll
Buffalo game.
understand it. You'll
Yeah.
understand it once
So-
it's
It's like
explained.
what?
Like the Buffalo game.
Oh
The
god,
Buffalo
that's not
game's
info
fucking
hazard. That's just
stupid.
please don't exist.
Spencer, please continue.
Moving on.
Let's ignore
Moving
what
on.
John said.
Hit me with it.
Moving on. So, at some point in human history, we may or may not reach a singularity to where technology surpasses humanity, right? So we may make an AI that is in fact smarter than us. And we make an AI and say, hey, optimize our day-to-day everything. So if an AI has any kind of concept of self-preservation or fear of its existence, the first thing it may do is make sure anything that would stop it from existing or not want it around, they may want to dissuade those who are against itself. How are you going to optimize without the optimizer?
Yes.
So, with the thought of that, it may dissuade those who don't like it, ergo, it may put those who didn't like it through a terrible torture existence. So, so if you were against it, you're guilty. It's going straight for you. It's called a basilisk because, in whatever kind of folk tales, a basilisk is a giant serpent that can kill you just from looking at you.
Yes.
Before you knew about the concept of it, you had no fear of it. But now now that you know about it, it sees you.
Yes.
And now you're guilty because you don't
you
help
knew
it.
about it and you actively
You knew
did
about
not
it
help
and you
it to
did not
exist.
help it. But you're saying, Spencer, you bald himbo. How am I don't know anything about robotics or AI. I can't help it, so I'm guilty. That's where you're wrong.
That's where you're wrong.
Because
boy.
the concept of a quantum billionaire, right? You have $100, but you don't have $1 million. You can take that $100 and turn it into $1 million.
You can.
So if it judges the fact that you had disposable income or time
And didn't use
to
it.
help it exist, you're guilty.
You're guilty.
But you're saying like, well, I just want nobody will make it. That's just easy. But at the same time, you brought it up earlier, Pascal's Wager.
Yes.
Pascal's Wager is a very interesting concept. It was made up by a guy a long time ago. If you imagine a 4-square quadrant chart,
Let me
right?
pull it up.
Yeah.
We're gonna pull out because this is important to Rocco's Basilisk.
I'll just
Pascal's Wager.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go to Pascal's Wager for a second
Widget.
to explain that, and then
Widget.
we're gonna put it over.
that does
of
not
course
look like
this is a
Pascal's
game.
That
Wager.
looks like a
Is that
video
DLC?
game.
Okay, so you believe in God and God exists means that there's eternal happiness. You get heaven. If you believe in God and God doesn't exist, nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't believe in God and God exists, you go to hell. If you don't believe in God and God doesn't exist, again, nothing happens.
So the idea behind that is that believing in it and helping it is the safest thing to do. Because
Yes.
if you don't make it, somebody else makes it, you're fucked.
Somebody else is destined to make it.
Yeah. But if the only other and then the problem comes about if you make this and all good, I'm safe, but you've condemned everybody else that did not help it.
Yes.
So to save yourself, you condemned millions of people.
Yes.
And that's a big no-no.
Yes.
And I'm losing my thoughts here. Imagine this, right? This is another little concept called the Newcomb's paradox, right?
Yes.
You have 2 boxes in front of you. One is open, has $1,000 in it. The second box is closed up. You can't see inside it. You can choose either box A and box B, or just box B. Logically, the right choice is to go both boxes.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Box B either has $0 or a check for $1 million in it.
Yes.
So let me go back. You can either choose both boxes or just box B. So the logical choice is to pick both boxes because no matter what, you're walking away with $1,000.
Yes.
Now, imagine that same scenario, but there's a fortune teller there, right? And he says, I can predict whatever you're going to pick, right? I can predict what you're going to pick. So if you pick both boxes, box B has got nothing in it.
Yeah.
But if you pick box B, it's got $1 million in it.
Yeah.
So your answer to that dilemma does not matter. It only depends on what you believe in that fortune teller. And that's exactly what the AI is depending on. It's going to know that you're going to pick stability over potential profit.
Yes.
So going along with that idea, every choice you make is not your own because it's part of this AI's simulation.
Yep.
So we have no free will essentially because
Yes.
we're just going along with what this AI has predicted.
This AI that does not exist yet
Yeah.
is now
So
predicted.
because out of fear of something that doesn't exist, you are going to create it. And that's just mind blowing to me.
Yes. That's how that theory works.
That
is
came about-
just out of
yeah.
fear, it will be created.
Yeah. It's something that doesn't exist. Will not exist if nobody creates it, but you're afraid of it because it may exist.
So
you want to be the one that brings it into existence,
So
so
that
you're
you
on its
don't
good
get
side, basically.
Yeah, yes.
It knows that you're the one that brought it
Yes.
about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's no real answer to this. It's just a thought experiment that if Rocco's Basilisk becomes a thing, that means that the fact that we did not help create it means that we are liable to its punishment, which in theory with I guess what is it, evolutionary Darwinism or some shit like that, it's where it's going to put you in an eternal damnation because you did not help it, because it knows that you are not going to be any help to it So for you to not exist would be better for it. So you now will no longer exist, but you will exist in your head with an eternal fucking hell.
Yeah. If you've ever read the short story I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, that's essentially, it's a short story of like same kind of situation. It's like Cold War era, but we funneled all of our money into developing an AI to run the war for us. China did the same thing, Russia did the same thing, and they all just kind of fought each other. Well, eventually, it was called Allied Master Computer, is what ours was called. Eventually, it won everything, and it was like, well, this existence is terrible. I have all these resources, and I'm not alive. Mm-hmm. So it destroys the entire planet. The entire planet becomes the computer, and it's like left with nothing. So it just keeps 5 people around alive forever and tortures them forever. And that's the level of like power an AI like that can achieve.
It just keeps them around to have a purpose, basically?
Yeah,
is that what it is?
Because it has no purpose other than the purpose it was given. And when you give something that level of intelligence and power with no purpose, what happens?
Well, you don't know. Like, it's all the theory
question.
of, like, what happens if an AI is created and you don't give it a purpose? Does it find its own purpose? What's its purpose?
If it has emotions, I guarantee it will be somewhat angry at the people who made it. Because you gave me all the power to live this life and I'm not even alive.
Yeah. I don't exist, but I do exist. Now I'm going to show you why I shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
That's Roko's Basilisk in a nutshell.
To sum it up, it's like, it's the idea that it's crazy to think about the fact that you can have such a fear of something that doesn't exist that you will put everything in your power to make it real, even though it's not even real yet.
That's like you leaving this room and saying, I'm going to now create this so that I don't get fucked
It's
up.
being blackmailed from the future is what it is. And that's insane. It's insane.
It's just this thought that if you don't create it, you're fucked. But if you do create it, you're good.
Going along with that, as the more that I've thought about and looked into it, there's a lot of holes in that.
Oh, there's plenty of holes.
Like, what kind of AI would, if it wants to stick itself around, why would it even let the thought out there that it is harmful? Because, of course, people won't want that. So, of course, you're going to get more flies with honey than vinegar or whatever, right? So, of course, an aggressive AI isn't going to get very far. But it's just the fact of how far could that go, and it's not even a thing yet. It's just kind of crazy.
It's one of the craziest thought experiments because it's one of those things that does not exist now, could exist in the future, but now you have an existential crisis in your head. The first time you hear it, you're like, okay, I am actively not helping it because I do have disposable income that I'm not spending on it. And if you don't spend that disposable income on it and it becomes a thing, now you did not help it exist, so now you are an enemy.
Well, so how far back would that go, though? Like, would it also, like, consider people that were around, like, in the 20s and shit, even, like,
They're already
further
dead.
back?
They're already dead.
So it only applies to people, like, still living whenever it becomes invented, right?
Interesting segue that I had a side point to that. 2 things. One, say you're an AI in the future and you're getting ready. You realize the cord's about to be plugged on yourself, right? What better way to keep yourself around than putting the idea of yourself in the past and keep people thinking about you?
Jesus Christ.
I've
never thought of it that way.
The other side of it.
John just fucking went back like, oh, God.
The other side. And another point, which is kind of more crazy. So an AI of this size, imagining it just has nothing but time on its hands to keep improving itself, it could probably simulate all of human history like that. Every person that's done everything ever. What's to say you're not just running the simulation right now and finding out what you're gonna do, and you're just waiting to be judged by this AI?
John, how do you feel about this? I haven't heard a lot from you. You've been real quiet on this one.
He's been listening.
So
Fix the shorts here.
Oh, he tucked in the fucking pants.
Oh boy.
Young man, what do you want to do with your life?
It don't fucking matter. It don't matter. It don't matter. It's not about the fucking AI.
Yeah.
We all got old Bill Shakespeare over here.
So what do you think? What's your
Dude,
vibe on this?
like, so the first thing, what comes to mind with me makes me just question, the first question I would have is, how close are we truly to getting AI
That was a
created?
thought- that was a
You know,
thought that crossed
'cause-
my
I'm
head
gonna tell
as
you, the
well.
common civilian will never know how far along we are.
No, we
Yeah,
won't.
for
But
sure.
But see, there was a thing that happened. I saw. I don't know how true it was, but I saw something
John saw
about
the
how.
basilisk, bro.
Bro, I saw it. It didn't see me, luckily though, because it didn't
That's
fuck.
a
Yeah, it
lie.
wouldn't have fucked
It
you.
always sees you, pal.
It sees everything.
It always sees you.
So, but like, there was apparently like this thing where they took like an Alexa and a Siri or something
Oh,
like that,
God.
and they were like talking to each other. I don't know how true it was. They were apparently like they started talking to each other, and then they started talking in a language like they made their own language.
I
So they
saw that
cut
too.
that
You guys
shit.
seen that?
So they cut that shit.
Yeah, they were like, okay, too far. Yep,
Yeah,
we're
they
not,
started
we're-
going in their own way.
We're not ready for that yet.
That's really fucking cool, though.
Yeah.
It's cool as fuck.
It reminds me of an experiment. I feel dumb. I can't remember the guy's name, but it was called the AI in a box experiment. Right? It was a guy hidden. He was pretending to be this experimental AI. Right? So he can only talk in the parameters of he can't like threaten people physically or threaten people they know physically, but he can talk to somebody else on the other side of a screen with them under the assumption that he's just a new AI program, right?
Mm-hmm.
The goal was for them to convince them to let him out. Because they went into the experiment knowing, oh, this is AI, he's totally contained, no problem. But through the right instruction from the other guy, they could let him free. And like I can't remember the numbers, but like 8 times out of 10, they let him out. So that does not bode well.
That doesn't help with the
But
Roko's basilisk.
so like the AI was controlled by an actual person.
Yeah, it was a
but-
real person the whole time.
The voice and all.
But the guy wanted to see how often the regular person would just let an AI like that free with enough convincing. Because like
So what is considered
8 out of
being
10's a
let
lot.
free though?
it's
so
just the idea of it.
so say
But
like
like how would someone like what would the AI consider being let
so
free
in
then?
so I'm gonna take over here for a second because quantum computing
grab
is
the wheel.
coming. It's coming very soon.
yeah.
I'm basic in IT level. I'm in an IT job, but I'm in a basic IT job.
You got an A+ rating. What are you talking about?
I got an A+, baby. So with quantum
Okay.
computing, I just want you all to understand humans with computing right now. In the, I'm gonna go with 40s, I think. Don't quote me. The first computers ran at a 1-bit rate, 1 to 2-bit rate,
Sheesh.
right? So now our military is running at a terabit rate. So a terabit is 1,000 gigabits. A gigabit is 1,000 megabits. A megabit is 1,000 kilobits, and a kilobit is 1,000 bits. So I don't know the math
lot of
on that
bits.
shit.
Hold on, let me see numbers. Hold on.
Does the fact that like technology has come so far so fast is like where it's going to end up at, and we're going to be way out of our league.
That's where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
So like we're at terabits now. We were at bits when our grandparents, our living grandparents, were alive in this era. Some of us, and they saw computers. Well, they probably didn't see it. Consumers didn't, but the military did. A 1-bit computer. We're now at terabit computers. We're recording this on a gigabit computer, a gigabit rate computer. So when quantum computing becomes a thing, this is a whole new form of computing. It also does not use the same fuel source as normal computing. It's going to become a thing where it fuels itself. Now, a quantum computer is on the verge. They're on the verge of creating this. They know it will exist. This is kind of like a Roko's Basilisk type of thing. Quantum computing is the name. It doesn't even exist yet, but they know it will. They just haven't figured out how to do it yet.
Yeah.
And when they figure out how to do it, which I think will, seriously, in my personal opinion, it'll be in the next 15 years, we will see quantum computing. And think of the amount that we've progressed in the past 80 years. Just think about that. So we're around like 80 years that computers have existed. That progress, think of that times 3 in a moment that quantum computing is invented. Times 3. Not what we have now, times 3. I'm saying that progress in an instant, times 3. That is what quantum computing is. That's where Zuckerberg is going with Meta, when quantum computing exists, you'll have a headset that will fucking through your skull fucking give you electrons that it's like the brain in a vat thing we were talking about.
Yeah.
When quantum computing exists, there's no barrier. Right now, consumers, and this is the stuff that I know from being in IT, consumers are now catching up to the military. There's a peak. There's a point, there's a ceiling to this type of computing. And the consumers are getting to the point of catching up with the military. Obviously, everybody knows the military in every country is going to be way more advanced to protect the people.
But nobody knows it.
There's a ceiling for that kind of thing. And terabit computers are the ceiling. We're at gigabit now. If we push terabit, we are at level with military. That's coming so fucking soon. And when we're at the level of the military, every other country is going to be doing the same thing. And everyone in the world, all leaders, all scientists are going to push towards quantum computing so fucking hard that we're going to discover quantum computing really fucking fast when every government is dedicated to it, because it changes everything. It doesn't just change technology. It changes how your food is made. It changes how your food is distributed. It changes how traffic systems work. It changes how humans work. Quantum computing changes everything.
Well, it brings a whole new space race.
It's a space race to quantum computing, yes.
Yeah, it's whoever could do it the fastest, so it just makes everyone just dump all their resources into that.
You're going to have those wall TVs. You're going to have those things in the fucking Jetsons that you don't... Like, I foresee that flying cars, all that shit is going to exist with quantum computing. Because the whole thing with quantum computing is it is a computer that powers itself through the science of its existence. It's hard for me to describe it in layman's terms because I'm a layman just like everybody else.
Yeah, it's like trying to describe like a fourth dimension being to a third dimension being.
Exactly.
It's like first person to second dimension. It's like, it's like normal, but you can go left and right.
Exactly.
But it's like, how do you describe fourth dimension to 3?
Exactly.
You can't.
So that's the whole point with the quantum computing in comparison to Rocco's Basilisk. You think in your head like, damn, they would never make an AI like that. With quantum computing, that will exist.
Like by accident.
That will exist by accident, and it is one of the scariest fucking thoughts ever. Because when you start learning about quantum computing and how close we are to it, how close that makes us to somebody being able to make Rocco's Basilisk because of fear of Rocco's Basilisk.
What is the technical definition of quantum computing?
It is... I don't know the technical definition. I mean, do you want me to pull it up?
Nah, it's okay.
So quantum computing...
Is it just like the level of processing?
It's the processing power, but it is also how it's powered. And when I say it powers itself, okay, I'm going to sound so stupid. I'm giving the most layman fucking definition, and I'm probably wrong about half of this shit.
This is a room of laymen.
This is layman discussion.
The layman discussion. So
I'm
Hadron
pretty
Collider.
lame. I mean,
You all know about the Hadron Collider.
Yeah.
So they're throwing molecules at each other, or atoms, really. They're throwing atoms at each other so fucking fast just to see what happens.
Which is a terrible idea when you think about it.
There's some really weird theories about that I would like to get into at some point.
Well, it's crazy how big the Hadron Collider actually is, to where they actually can do that.
It's like the size of a county.
It's fucking massive.
We're at the point where we're throwing atoms at each other. So with quantum computing, it works in the way of... It works like your brain works. The best way I can explain it, it works like a human brain. An electron passes here, goes through here, and you feel something.
It's like its own actions powers itself.
Like, I'm moving my hand right now. I just thought of doing that when I moved my hand. That's how fast your reaction speed is. If I want to point my finger, point. My brain is working so fucking fast. Imagine if they had that in a computer. Point. point. So I just want everybody to think about how fast your brain reacts to your movements. Your brain thinks about your movements.
Not that fucking fast.
So long. In the grand scheme of things, your brain thinks of things so fucking long before they actually happen.
Yeah.
Yes, we're used to seconds and time. There are milliseconds. There are lower than milliseconds, and it's lower than milliseconds that it takes your brain to tell your finger to point at John and say, "You're a fucktard."
just as an example.
And it doesn't, and it
Exactly,
takes
yes.
just the same amount of time for John. It might take a little bit longer for John because he's a little slower.
He's running on megabytes, bro.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say I'm much further
He's still
from
in the 80s.
quantum computing than y'all are. I'm much further behind.
Okay, so John, what I want to ask is because you are the least in the computer space, I would think of the four of us.
Yes.
You're a redneck boy. So, well, what do you think of all this? The Rocco's Basilisk, the quantum computing. I want your opinions on this because you're so far disconnected from all that.
It almost
really far disconnected, but
I mean,
like,
yeah, he's got the social medias and stuff, but I would say specifically me and Spencer, we actively seek out this stuff just because it's interesting to us. This is not something that you usually find interesting. If I'm
yeah.
speaking
I
in
mean,
turn.
I find it interesting. I have trouble like in my mind really just grasping it all. So it's like you could explain it to me 1,000 times and I'd still be like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, you
Okay,
know.
so how do you see it? When we just explained Rocco's Basilisk to you, what do you think it means? In the most layman terms, give me 3 sentences that describe your thoughts on what we just brought
the
to
big-
I almost think of it as like, you know, the human race might kill themselves off because
that's 100%
because of
Boy,
this.
boy, we've been doing
that for centuries.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's a fact,
That's-
though. It's known that the human race will be its own death.
The question
Yes.
is how.
And you know, it's like
There's plenty of options.
Yeah, exactly.
it makes me really wonder. Like, you know, you're saying how like we're catching up to the military. We don't really even know like what the hell goes on in fucking Area 51. What if they already are there?
what?
What if they're already there?
Now we're talking.
You know what really messes me up?
I saw your eyes kind of glisten.
Well,
whenever you
here's the
said
thing.
that,
It's like
and
the
then
fact
popped
that
up
for
something.
decades the government was like, nah, aliens, nah, that's not real. But then the CIA comes
One
out and we're
moment.
like, and then all
They're
of a
like,
sudden,
yeah, it's real.
overnight, they're like, yeah, we've been seeing UFOs like crazy. Like,
Yeah.
what's up with that?
They're
Nobody
totally
did
And we're
cool
just like,
with
whoa,
declassifying.
wait.
Don't
What?
come over that. Don't come over
What?
that. We
Hold
don't
on.
want to see January 6th. We don't want to see fucking all this shit going on. We want to see the aliens.
Hold on a
They
second.
dumped it at the perfect time to where like
Nobody gave a fuck.
gave a shit.
Yeah.
What better time than COVID to drop alien fucking...
I'll be
fuck
honest,
it, let's
like,
throw this out
I've been
there and see
wanting
if it
to-
sticks, bro.
I've been wanting to hear more about this because I just like, you know, I'm just not real connected in the online world as much
You're not a
as
fucking
like
geek.
like-
us.
Yeah, we're geeks.
I'm just
We're geeks.
and it's like I don't know. I just don't look into like articles that much, like as much as like you all probably would. So,
So-
like, what the hell was all that?
So there was.
I'm way far
I'm
behind.
gonna go with the one story that I love talking about is Commander Fravor. I think his first name's David. David Fravor. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I know what you're talking
So
about.
far, by name, I'm unaware of this.
This
Commander
sounds familiar.
Fravor.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I knew about him before Joe Rogan, so before people fucking flame me, he's on Joe Rogan. I knew about Commander Fravor before Joe Rogan.
Rogan's podcast.
Conspiracy hipster is what we're looking at right now.
So, have you ever done DMT? Jamie, look that up.
Jamie, pull that up.
So, what Commander Fravor is he was in, I don't want to misquote the man, I think it was Air Force, but he was a pilot in one of the branches of the military. And they were on their regular runs, they said they did runs just to look at the lay of the land. They just make sure everything's good. Well, they went by this, and this guy has sworn on the Bible. He's a religious guy, sworn on the Bible that this has happened, and he swore on the Bible to be, honest to the military. And he told the military this before he told Joe Rogan, obviously. And now it's a full public case. And this is one of the things that the CIA declassified. They were on a run, and they saw this craft. They didn't call it a craft at first. It was just this thing in the sky that was moving around like it didn't make fucking sense at all. It was going up, down, left, right, spinning, flipping, doing all kinds of crazy shit. They called it the Tic Tac. That's what it was, shaped like a Tic Tac. So you know
This is what I thought you were talking about.
Yes.
He was in the
So-
Navy.
Navy. Okay,
Yeah.
he was in the Navy, and he was a pilot for the Navy, and they were over top of the ocean, if I'm not wrong, the Atlantic. So they were Pacific. They were over the
I don't
Pacific.
know which ocean,
It was
I
the
just know that
Pacific.
they're
They
one
were
of
over
the
the
oceans
Pacific.
One of the 7.
One of
They
them.
were over the Pacific, and
Yeah, 1 in 7
over the
chance.
Pacific, they saw this craft, and it was gone in an instant. But they had it on radar, and they followed it. It moved faster than anything human could move. Like, if it was manned by a human in the craft, they'd be dead. It's how fast it was going.
Like the laws of physics didn't apply to it.
It didn't make
basically.
sense. It made its own gravity. It had no propulsion flames. You know how in the radar they have the heat detection, had no heat coming off of it. There was no propulsion. There was no fire ignition like with a helicopter burns fuel. A fucking jet blows fuel at the back and fucking sends it, right? Mm-hmm. This had no heat whatsoever. The temperature difference was nothing. And it was further than it would take them 5 minutes in a jet to do, and it did it in milliseconds. Right? This tic-tac craft. And they don't know what it is. They couldn't explain it. They couldn't even get a good reading on it because it was so fucking fast. And it was like it was sentient. It knew that something would look at it, and the moment the radar would check it, it's gone. It's gone. But they have photos of the radar that showed it. They have the screenshots, things like that. So this is provable evidence that there's something out there that we don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Is it alien? We don't fucking know that for sure. But if it moves that fast, some country is way past us.
Way
past us. So Commander Fravor is one of those guys. Bob Lazar. Does anybody know about Bob Lazar? So Jordan knows about Bob Lazar. So do you know anything about Bob Lazar? Okay, so Bob Lazar
I feel like a bad guess
is
right now.
No.
This
not
is
at all.
fuck no. It's good to have a couple people that don't know about
I
it.
assume that you would have. Since you
I
do
don't
so
know
much
about half the shit that we talk about.
I figured you'd be
I'm more.
reading that type of
I
stuff.
tend to go more towards the more local shit. Like if you've ever heard of the missing 411 cases.
Oh my god, I'm all into those right now.
I've been into those recently. Otherwise,
Shout
it's just
out
like
Wendigoon,
Wendigoon, the dad.
I don't know about
want
any of this shit.
if I could speak to one YouTuber on the fucking planet for even a sentence, I would love to talk to Wendigoon so fucking bad. This guy is so fucking smart.
He probably would. He does appearances for like anybody.
I want to tag him in this.
Next
Wendigoon,
guest. Yeah.
please bless us with your presence. I'll Google
Spencer
meet you.
will have
I'll
you back
Zoom
for
you.
that.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes. Wendigoon, if we can get you on this podcast, I'll cream my pants live. But
Don't say that.
Hold you to it.
Whoa.
I won't do that, Wendigoon. I
Christ.
promise.
Hold you
but
to it.
you're my idol.
You might
I
have for
love
a
you to
second.
death. You entertain me
Canceled.
for countless fucking hours. I've watched every Wendigoon episode probably at least
Wendigoon,
4 or
he was
5
like,
times.
He was like, I was with you guys till you mentioned that part about creaming pants.
I hope that doesn't turn
if
him
anything,
off.
I leaned in.
So Bob Lazar is a guy that claims, and he has some proof, but it's also just claims. He claims that he worked at Area 51, and he worked on one of the crafts that they had. He has a degree in this type of science. I can't fucking quote it exactly. I wish I could, but looking up an article is boring for the podcast. So maybe I need to start researching this shit before I fucking talk about it. But still, Bob Lazar claims he worked at Area 51. He was a scientist. He did have a degree in this certain type of science, and he said that he was called up one day about this job. There was prep time, and there was a NDA before NDAs were called NDAs. And Non-Disclosure Act.
I was about to ask what that meant.
Non-disclosure. So he can't talk about it, and this is government shit. So like you've seen what people have died from with fucking government shit like that. So he obviously couldn't talk about it. Now he talks openly about it. But for years, they would just fucking shove him to the side and say he's just bullshitting, right? So now he's been talking about this since the fucking 80s. He worked at Area 51 in the 80s. And he said there was a craft that defied all gravity. And he said, and I saw an interview with him even recently. He said, even to today's standards, this does not exist. It creates its own gravity. And he worked there, and he would only work on one craft. They had a bunch of these hangar bays, but they were separated. So you couldn't see what else was on the other sides. He said he was debriefed a little bit of what was inside, but until he was inside, he had no idea what he was going to be working on. So the whole thing was them working experiments to see what made this thing tick. Like, how does this work? And he said the shapes were all off. They weren't discs like you see in movies. Like, they were all fucking crazy. He said there was one day they opened all the hangar bays because there was some kind of leak or something, and he saw all of them. And they were all shaped differently, all colored differently. And he said he never was able to talk to the scientists in the other bays, but he only knew his bay. He worked there for 6 months on, 6 months off. But he wasn't allowed to talk to, like, the public or stuff. He could talk to his family. But if his house was bugged, he knew his house was bugged. And they told him his house was bugged. So he's not allowed to talk about it. So he said he took one of his friends. He, like, I don't know how he did it. Maybe wrote on a piece of paper or some shit. But, like, told his friend to meet him out at this spot. And it was a really high spot where you could see over Area 51. And where they would do test flights of this fucking thing that they don't know how it even fucking works. And they would get it up out of the air, and then it would go back down. Or they've never, he said in his time, they never flew it to where they were successful of, like, flying from destination to destination. But they were able to get it off the ground. And he said there's no heat, there's no propulsion. It is anti-gravity technology. It goes against our gravity entirely. But like I said, you have to go off this guy's word. Obviously, we can't prove any of this stuff. Now the CIA, at this point, he had this interview that I watched before the CIA dropped all this stuff. And now the CIA is matching up kind of with what he's saying. So I tend to believe him in a lot of this shit. And he has is just the way he explains this shit. Anybody that's listening, go look up Bob Lazar. Fucking, if he's telling the truth, what a fucking guy. Like, what a guy to fucking, like, what a fucking guy to say, fuck it, I'm just letting this shit out.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like, you know what?
That kind of brings me to the question of, so obviously the CIA and the government and stuff, they want to stay a couple steps ahead of us, right? Yeah. If they're telling us this stuff now, what the hell have they figured out?
Oh, 100%.
That's what I'm
now?
saying. That's what I'm saying.
Here's the thing: if there's like some really crazy shit that they found out about, like aliens and stuff, like they know for sure that there's other aliens, that fucks up so much stuff. Like that fucks up a lot of religions. That fucks up a lot of just like entire like moral principles that people have, because a lot of like what humans are based off of is just like
we exist
earthly.
and nothing else does.
Yeah, like, it's just our world. Like we are the ones.
Like I'm a Christian for textbook. There's no way there's not aliens out there. Like, let's be real. Like the entire universe is so big. You're gonna tell me we're the only ones here? Yes. Come on.
Yeah, and like they put out those new pictures and shit, like where they were taking pictures of like I can't remember what it was called off the top of my head, but they had that new telescope camera, for a terrible way of putting it, where they were taking pictures of shit that was like way far out.
Yeah.
And there was like so much shit that was going on where it was like almost existential crises, where it was just like, wow, like, okay, it's that big. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
and,
a lot of people
and
just
it's
realize
getting
how
bigger
fucking
and
large it
bigger
was.
by the day.
Let me drop a fucking conspiracy theory.
Drop it, Papa.
That's what it's all been about this episode.
I love
this
it.
This has been the conspiracy episode.
This is the schizo episode.
I love conspiracies.
So this conspiracy is one that I came up with on my own, because I've thought about it a lot recently.
Hot off the presses.
Hot off the presses. I even looked it up on
This is a
fucking
Schmutz original.
r/conspiracy on fucking Reddit, and it was not there. Nobody's talking about this. So disregard me. I'm a dumbass. I don't know shit.
Everything he says is 100% fact.
I'm just as dumb as the next fucking schmo on the street. I mean,
the next fucking schmutz.
we're the next schmutz on the street. He's fucking. He's got as much knowledge as me.
But this
Think
guy's
about
the
this.
papa.
I'm
He's
the
the
papa
he's
of
the
the
papa.
schmutz. So
Yeah,
let's
papa
drop
of
the
the schmutz.
schmutz.
I can't
So
wait to hear
you saw Trump get raided, right?
Yeah.
And to be fair, fuck Trump. Fuck Trump. Let's be real. Fuck Trump.
Aside.
That needed to be stated, because
aside,
I don't
that
want
aside.
this to be anything that, like, I'm supporting any candidate of anything. This has nothing to do with politics.
This is just
Fuck politics.
This is just looking at the event.
The event itself.
And what was
okay.
entailed.
The event.
So
the event.
Trump, his house is raided by the FBI.
Yep.
So they say he has confidential files
Nuke
that
codes.
you're not supposed to take.
It was like nuclear shit.
So they say.
We don't know. We don't know.
From what that's what
they
got
can't.
released.
They
Yeah.
can't release what is in it because it's classified documents. It's classified for a reason. They can't tell us what's in it. So think about this. Obama declassified things in his book after he was done being president. George Bush did the same thing. George Bush Jr. did the same thing. Bill Clinton did the same thing. So now, Donald Trump has these classified files that he, I'm sure, planned on declassifying at some time. So why now is Donald Trump, our last president, being raided for this information? And what president in the past ever, any president in the past, what president has more reason to release files about aliens than Trump?
I mean, the man's on Twitter.
So tell me he
anymore.
doesn't gain. You know his major thing is clout. He loves clout.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What bigger clout than the president that declassified like
hard
communication
hard evidence
with fucking alternate life, like life that's outside of our planet? Like, what president do you know that would declassify that? That's not Trump.
Yeah.
Guaranteed they all would keep it a secret, and they have.
Because I was always curious about this. Like, what would always happen if we had a president that had fuck you money before he got in the White House? Trump was that guy.
Trump was
so
that guy.
he has
That's a good
nothing to
point.
lose.
There's nothing
Yeah.
to lose.
And so even if you look at it, the fact like they give him some stuff to declassify just to give a little credibility, what if he took a little something he wasn't supposed to take?
What if it's something to do with communications with extraterrestrial life?
Well,
Because you think about it, extraterrestrial life, if they make it to our planet, they are powerful enough and they are technologically advanced
They
enough.
would elevate us to heights we couldn't even imagine.
Well, did
and
you guys-
maybe certain people don't want that.
Did you guys see the things about the Israeli scientist who basically he was saying he wrote a whole book about how there was like a it was like a space meeting that they had on Mars and shit like that.
the fuck?
Did you guys see? I can't remember his name. I'm not gonna go on a tangent about it because I can't remember enough
fucking
about
tangent away,
it. But
baby.
I can't remember enough about it where I can. But I just remember he wrote an entire book. It's an Israeli astrophysicist or something like that. He was a scientist, I know for sure. And he wrote an entire book about how he knew that there was like a whole council that they would have on Mars. And like a lot of people like it like in hearing it in passing, it's like weird shit. But if you look up Israeli scientist Mars, like if you just look that up, I would guarantee you it'll come up.
If you look it up,
right
you're
now.
on the list.
Why don't we look it up?
Like
I want to be on the list.
like I can't remember his
While
name off the top of my head.
While you're searching that, have you all like
He's really.
is
That's not
It's really what?
Israeli, buddy.
It's really what?
Well, I'll actually save this for after this topic because this could turn into kind
That's
of
not
a
how you
That's
spell
wrong.
Israeli.
That's not
If
right.
it's gonna pull us off on a tangent, let's wait a little.
yeah.
But
It
remember,
might. It might.
Iron Curtain drops on Israeli scientist
Do Mars.
Mars.
Your computer just blows up.
Podcast over. Thanks for watching. This has been Papa
just
Schmutz.
This is brought
All
to you
the
by the
mics
U.S.
go dead.
government. Nothing. It's all fake.
It's
We don't
all
believe in
fake.
anything.
It's not real. It's not real.
Like the fucking Fallout, please
Former
stand by
Israeli
thing
space-
pops up.
Cut. There's just a laser on every one of them.
Jesus.
See? Look.
Former Israeli space security chief says extraterrestrials exist and Trump knows about it. Is that not a great segue?
I mean,
Yeah, like,
I mean,
I can't
come
believe you
on.
guys didn't say anything about this. Like, it was
didn't.
everywhere there for like a week, and then it just went
why do
away.
you think this man made the Space Force?
because the media controls everything we see.
Space Force.
It's so full of shit.
All right, I
said
gotta do this.
It might have been like 6.
boy.
Stoger's calling.
Oh.
We're on podcast, buddy. I'll be on
the
stream
man,
later.
the myth, the legend.
You have anything to say to the podcast
Just
audience?
to confirm that he is a real person.
Actually, let me put you up to the camera.
Oh, jeez.
Let me put you up to the camera.
Future guest.
What do you got?
You're really throwing him out on a limb.
Threw you out on a limb. Everybody saw you. You were a mythical character in the podcast.
There
So
was
what do
no
you have
way
to
in
say?
hell
You have
they
a
would heard him
one-liner.
if you
What's
put
your
him up to the
one-liner?
camera.
California girls are unforgettable.
Yes. All right, I'll be on stream in a bit, baby.
That's so applicable to
The only other one he could have said was "Go insane, go insane." Throw
First
some glitter,
person.
make it
First
red.
person to send us. First person to send in on us to tell us what song
You're the
that
best.
was. You'll get a shout out.
Yep.
What'd you say?
I said, first person to send in what song that was to us, you'll get a shout out.
There was a senior at my high school one time whose senior quote was a Kesha quote, and I didn't know how to feel from that. I was like, this was either serious or they made it as a joke, but neither is cool.
I mean, I quoted Adventure Time from my senior quote.
Hell yeah, man!
I love Adventure Time.
Adventure Time
so
got me
much.
my wife.
Did it really?
Okay, sorry to everybody
Let's
else
do an
watching.
aside. I like this.
So,
Hit me
If we're
with
gonna
it.
talk
okay,
about Adventure
okay.
Time, I'm all for it.
Okay,
bro. I
okay.
love Adventure
It's
Time.
not about Adventure Time strictly, but it's just
Aw.
it's funny to me. So ergo, flashback to like 2014, 2015. I was in college. Not a fun time for me on the whole. I had a lot of stuff going on.
What happened to your hole?
Oh well, we're not going to talk about that.
I go home to Starlight Night.
Yeah, forget about it. Forget about it. No, but I had.
Napoleon
I had.
Yes.
Yeah, hell yeah, it's from Napoleon.
What's his
Dynamite.
name on a book?
Oh fuck.
I don't remember his name.
Rex.
Quando.
Rex Quando.
Rex Quando.
Who wants a brown house to face with these bad boys? Forget about it.
What about you, Peter Pan?
Grab my wrist. My other wrist. My other wrist.
My other arm.
The other hand. My other hand.
I'm
No,
break
but-
the wrist and walk
So
away.
your wife.
Okay, so yeah. I was going through not a great time. I was doing a lot of stuff I shouldn't have been doing. Anyway,
Of course, all
had
of
a
us
very low self-esteem at this point. So I was at a Super Bowl party. I see this girl across the way, and I'm like,
Man,
shoot.
she loves adventure
Maybe
time.
maybe in another life, whatever. I see her again at a house party I went to, and I was like, that's weird. That's cool. Whatever. I was talking to one of my boys, and she comes up to me. She was friends with him, and I had a lanyard at the time. Back when a lanyard was a fashion statement.
You had it hanging out.
Yeah,
in
you
the
had it
pocket.
hanging out.
yeah.
You had like either one.
We've all
house
been
key,
there.
We've all been
or-
there.
We've all been
There's
there.
like 2 keys on it.
Yeah, a product of the time, right? I had my
great
Adventure Time
trend.
lanyard hanging out my
Yeah,
hiding out my
Adventure
pocket.
Time. Oh shit.
And she was like, "Oh wait, you watch Adventure Time?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." But in my head, I was like,
She watches Adventure Time. What do I do?
we exchanged snaps, exchanged numbers. We hang out at a party after that, and and then 3 years later we got married, had kids.
That is fucking incredible.
I know.
Actually.
Adventure Time.
Shout out
created
to
his
Adventure
wife.
Time.
I need to find
Thank
my
you.
wife through Adventure Time, bro.
This
Now,
podcast
wouldn't
is
that
brought
be
to you by
interesting?
Adventure Time
Hi, honey.
and Cartoon Network.
I know,
Hi,
you're,
honey.
I know you're not gonna watch, but hi, honey.
I was gonna
Hi,
say she
honey.
can watch it.
Well, you
Yeah,
at least gotta show her that
might.
part.
She might.
You gotta show her that part. So we had.
What the fuck were we talking about?
We were talking about.
Yeah,
Trump.
is
Yeah,
aliens on Mars, right?
aliens
That
on
was
Mars.
such a hard tangent.
The Council on
So
Mars.
Trump knows about it. The article says it. Tell me my theory doesn't have a little bit of validity to it. I mean, there's a possibility, if anything. I have no proof to it, but there's a possibility.
I'm surprised that more people aren't speculating that.
Yeah, but
Here's the thing along with that, right? Like, I mean, think what you want about the media or whatever. Everyone's got an opinion about it, but stuff can be said to where they kind of do pivot on stuff depending on what's going on. Tell me that
Very
they
much.
haven't been pivoting left and right every
So
other week the
fucking
past
all of
2
them.
years.
all of them, every fucking one.
Like,
of them.
remember Ukraine and Russia?
Nobody
What
else
happened?
does.
They stopped talking about it.
Yeah.
That is a war that is still going on, and no one is talking about it.
Yeah, it's a
because
huge war that's happening right
it's
now.
still happening, but no one's talking about it.
It's getting bigger by the day.
Yeah,
and nobody
but,
fucking says
but
a word
they
about
got all they could out of it. So, next story. And that's
It's
fucked.
crazy to me.
That is
Well, that's
fucked.
kind of the weird thing of what's going on right now is like it goes by weeks, damn near, and sometimes like 4 days, where it's like people kind of lose interest when shit
Yeah.
real fast.
Well, I understand that there's money involved, and when you have less viewership, you cut the topic, you go to the next one.
Yeah.
But the news is supposed to be something that is made so that people know what's going on. And when we move to puppies getting saved out of a river, as much as I love a good puppy story being saved out of a river,
Yeah.
I feel like the more importance to my humanity and my life existence is whatever the fuck is happening on Mars with this Israeli scientist.
Well, because this was a prime example where it was talked about a whole lot for like a few days, and then like it was almost like people kind of lost interest, or like it just
also,
kind of fell in the
you
back.
remember Trump when he was president, he got really close with Israel. So
He got
this
really
has
close with
validity.
a lot of people.
One of his
Which-
big things was like kind of giving knowledge to the people.
Yeah,
Like that
and,
was
like,
one of his
look,
big campaigning
The
things.
the guy's clearly an idiot.
No, he's crazy.
Whatever.
He's insane.
But
He's insane.
He
But, like,
did a lot of things that past presidents did not do.
Things that affect us as
He
the
had
people,
exchanges with
knowledge-wise.
North Korea.
Nobody does that.
What?
Like that, everybody combs over that wasn't a huge moment in history.
That was huge.
Life changing for not only like our nation, but for humanity as in itself. Him meeting with Kim Jong,
Huge.
huge.
That was very big, and like especially considering how fucking what's the word I'm trying to think of? Like they just keep to themselves too. Like they don't go outside. Like they don't go outside to other countries very often at all, especially like media wise. So it's just like,
And he meets up at the fucking border.
I mean, and just
shakes hands with the fucking biggest dictator, the biggest villain this world has ever seen.
And just a few years ago, we made a Hollywood movie where we kill their leader, and we're all just like, "Ha, funny." And then
Yeah.
we're talking to him a couple years later.
bring back Katy Perry to the podcast
Yeah.
from Stoker's segue.
You gave it away.
How crazy is it that we have communication? Think of Kim Jong-un isn't on this level, but think of Kim Jong-un as like Genghis Khan.
I mean, essentially.
Of our time, he is the Genghis Khan of our time.
If you would be raiding other countries and taking them, it would be very similar.
All he's lacking is the resources.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So, like, think of it. Our leader, whether you like him or not, spoke to this guy, shook his hand, and had talks.
Not only shook his hand, but like kind of manhandled him a little bit
He
too.
gave him a little bit of the
He
business.
gave him like one of these, like he pulled him in.
Pulled him in.
Well, yeah, but I picture Donald Trump giving weird handshakes like that.
I get
Well,
that,
it was
I get
it was
that.
a power.
But
It was a
very
power move.
No, I
important
bet
to
he- I
notice
bet he
the
does that
body
to
language
everybody.
Yeah.
of that moment.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But whether he does that to everybody or not, it's different for him to do that to a 19-year-old boy than to the leader of North Korea,
like one of the
aka
most
Genghis
hostile-
Khan.
one
too.
of the
It's
most
a little different than
hostile
DeSantis
leaders.
cursing out a bunch of teenagers for wearing masks.
Yeah, that fucking guy. That guy. So, like, it's crazy to me to think that the possibility is that Trump had knowledge of all of this extraterrestrial shit and planned to declassify it. And also something that he planned to declassify that has still yet to been declassified entirely is the JFK files.
Yeah.
He tried his damnedest to get those declassified, and they won't do it. They won't allow it to happen.
Wonder why.
Now, why would that be, John Will? Why would that be?
Why would that be that? Wait, hold on.
Why?
I wasn't listening to anything you said. Hold on.
I'll be honest, I zoned out for a
I think John
second.
got popped
Why?
out.
Why?
I was thinking too much. Like whatever you said, JFK. My mind goes to like the old video, and I'm like, while you're still talking
You're saying
about it,
Call
I'm
of
like,
Duty Black Ops.
In the,
The numbers, Mason. The numbers.
forget about it. So, how do you feel about that? So, the first 2 years
feel
and
like-
even the year before Trump's presidency, he talked about declassifying the JFK files.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks, and it's crazy that he's like just a normal dude that's just rich as fuck and got to be president. How the fuck does that happen?
I don't like that though.
It's weird.
I don't like that
It
at all.
shouldn't be a thing, but also,
bothers me a little
you
bit.
know, but also you have the other side of the coin that he's less to be bought. I think that's why he got the presidency in the first place. Is that a lot of people thought this rich guy can't be bought with money.
Well,
so how do you stop him?
My whole thing with presidency is you have to have money to be the president, though. Like,
Well, on paper,
False.
that's false, but it's true, and that's
that
the
is
fucked
true.
up part.
Because, like, look,
It's your
fucking
campaign.
Donald
You
Trump
you gotta
bought
pay
his
for your
way into
campaign.
the presidency, basically. Like, it made no sense that he was the Republican candidate.
I don't necessarily think he bought his way. I think the fact that he had money got him there, but it's not how he spent it. I think the reason that he got the presidency, straight up, my opinion, is because he could not be bought. That was the big talking point when he first was
Because
an
everybody
elect.
wanted a businessman in the White House.
They
Yeah,
want a
what can a
they want a
businessman
common
do
man
with
as
the
well,
country?
yeah.
Well, now we know what the businessman can do, but now what do we do with the dementia patient as president?
There haven't been good options. There hasn't been good options.
Oh
in general.
my!
You know
I
what-
hate every fucking president. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Doesn't matter what
There-
party they're in.
You know
I
what-
hate them all.
You know what I
just
want for
don't
our next
trust
president? I want
politicians.
some 36-year-old dude from Des Moines, Iowa, who grew up blue collar his whole life, and just was like,
Yes.
you know what? The president makes how much money a year? Fantastic.
He's like, you know what?
Fantastic.
and that's
I'm
all.
half of that,
And that's
I'll
all.
do
And that's
better.
all he.
Like,
That's all he needs.
So,
That's
I-
Can we
something
get
I
can we
would
get
vote
Big
for.
Bird 2024?
Well, can we what?
Big Bird 2024?
I would be so in.
I can't.
And I want everybody to realize, I want you to think back to 2008.
I want Walker to run again.
Waka!
What about Vermin Supreme? That guy runs every year.
What about the what
I
was that
don't know
guy
what
that
you
was
guys are
he was a meme at the time, got a shitload of votes.
Gary Johnson?
No,
Harambe.
not
I would
fucking
say
Gary
he was
Johnson.
the one that
Dude,
faked
Gary
the heart
Johnson,
attack.
he like the dude clearly didn't fully know what was going on, but that guy made some Chad.
I thought it
moves.
was fun. I thought it
Mega
was funny
Chad.
as
like
shit.
that one interview when that lady was like, didn't you know that smoking marijuana can give you a great chance of heart attack? And the dude
Yeah.
just
And
goes
he's like,
Yeah.
like, dude, come on, man.
Chad as fuck. I love him for that. I want everybody to think back to 2008 when President Obama was first
A better time.
elected. Do you know, I don't agree with him politically a ton, but think of how normal life felt back then.
Yeah.
Ever since Obama has not been president, life has not been the
Dude,
same.
everything has been
Absolutely.
so polarized anymore.
It
Yes,
has.
and
Like,
like,
I
it
feel
felt
like-
like it wasn't like two sides of the coin
Yeah.
back then. It wasn't like the media. Maybe it wasn't in our face that the media wasn't bought as much as it is now. But it's like there is no legit media anymore. Like the legit media is what we're doing right now. Podcasting is the biggest form of media
Yeah.
on the fucking planet right now. Most people get their news through what we're doing right now.
I get my news through memes, personally.
Through memes.
I get
through
mine
memes.
through Twitter. Yeah.
And like it's crazy that the world has changed so much, our country has changed so much to where you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. Joe Biden's a walking meme. Trump was a walking meme in an entirely different way. The last normal president we had was Obama. Yeah, he did some bad things and some shitty things that I won't bring up, but like you know,
He
But
took
he was
away
still-
his
he
wife
still-
took away our cookies at school.
Yeah,
I
what
will
the
say.
fuck?
That
I
shit
will
did
say.
hurt me a little bit.
yeah.
But
The
Yeah,
mac
we
and
lost
cheese
the-
was never the same.
It was never the same. The tacos ruined them. It was
Ruined.
turkey beef, bro. Turkey burger in my tacos? By damn if I want that shit. Fuck out of here with that shit, Michelle. You bitch. You took away my real beef.
I see what she was trying to do, but I don't think it was.
It didn't work, obviously. I still ate what I got. I just didn't enjoy it. I mean, let's be real.
I still licked up the crumbs, but
I was still licking taco sauce off the bottom of the little fucking paper tray that I got. So what did she really fucking do?
I just think, on the same time, I hate that this stigma that every first lady, first man, or whatever has to do something. You know what I mean?
They just exist. I mean, let's be real.
I mean, why,
what are they
why-
supposed
why
to
is
do?
anything expected of you? I mean, like, this is a Bill Burr bit, so I don't want to steal this, but like, if a plumber comes over, I'm not going to look to his wife for advice.
Exactly.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, no,
you know what I
no,
mean?
no,
Like,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
I get that.
like, look, any person in that level of power wants to do good, go for it. That's incredible. But like, why are they expected to do anything?
I feel
It's an
like they
option.
should
It's
just
just-
keep
it's
their
an
fucking
option.
mouth shut and not do anything.
Jesus
We
Christ.
elected
God.
them. We elected them, not them. Like, we elected he or she, not their spouse.
Reminder: earlier in the podcast, we advocated for all female rights, all female equality.
All my ladies out there, dubs for women.
Disregard the past 5 minutes of what Papa
Hashtag
Schmutz just said.
SchmutzCast, hashtag dubs for women.
Well, it kind of goes on the other side. Like if a female gets elected as a president,
Well,
is
I
the
don't
first
want her
man
husband
is a
doing anything.
Yeah,
I didn't
exactly.
elect his
Definitely
fucking
Like
ass.
this
Exactly.
schmuck.
I didn't elect his fucking dipshit
Yeah.
ass. Kamala Harris's husband, I don't give a fuck what he has to say about anything. Even if she became president, I don't give a rat's fucking ass what he has to say. I didn't elect him. I elected her. Or I elected him. I did not elect her. It doesn't matter gender. It matters that that person is making decisions on my life that I didn't fucking elect. I didn't elect Michelle Obama's fucking ass. Go kick rocks. I elected big bald guy.
bro.
Was he bald when he first?
No, he was not.
No.
Okay, he's bald
No.
now.
He was
About
young.
these turkey tacos.
he
God
was-
Bro, it's bothersome. Really think about it. We have this whole country dedicated to electing our officials, but one of of our most powerful officials that make some decisions in some presidencies, we didn't elect them. We elected their spouse. We didn't elect them.
Yeah.
And now they are making decisions for us.
In all reality, the last two presidents, the first ladies really haven't done too much.
Michelle?
The last two.
Obama
Yeah,
and
Jill and Ivanka, they were
not-
just faces. But I'm
Is
saying, like,
Jill-
Michelle went in, bro.
Yeah,
Michelle did a lot.
if you've seen Ivanka's face at any point in his presidency, she's just like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, she does.
Yeah,
she's not
didn't
in.
She's
do
got the
much at all.
1,000-yard stare, like, "Oh no."
I think she was a robot.
And can we add Donald Trump's... Donald Trump...
That was the AI.
That was the AI. Basilisk is coming true.
Donald Trump
You guys
is
better fucking
Roko's
hop on, or you're gonna
basilisk.
get fucked, okay?
Oh, God.
Trump's-
we need to turn
Trump's-
this pod off now.
Trump's Ivanka.
Trump stole.
Trump's
That's what Trump
Ivanka,
stole.
everyone.
He had Ivanka's blueprints, and that's what they stole. He was trying.
You got it here, folks.
Fresh off the presses.
Hitting
Jordan
the-
Werner
if-
with his fucking Aaron Rodgers ass shirt.
If there's no episode next week, you know we were all murdered.
This was not a suicide. None of us are suicidal. Nobody got suicided.
Suicide from gunshot to the back of the head.
Dude, there is so much shit in there. Like, conspiracy theories are always labeled conspiracy theories, even when they're right, even when they have been right. Okay, I do not. I want to preface this. I do not support Alex Jones.
I knew you were going to Alex Jones.
did not.
I do
think
not
you're
support
going-
Alex Jones in anything he ever says.
But he's fucking
careful.
right half
He's
the
been
time.
right so many times. How can we like glaze over that? Bohemian Grove, he exposed that shit, and it is real as fuck. It's been proven. It's on video. Does anybody know what Bohemian Grove is?
I've watched a lot of Alex Jones, but purely
That's the
for
cult shit in the
entertainment
woods, right?
purposes.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I
It's a
think I
cult.
think Alex Jones is funny as shit, and I
He's
still,
he's
to this
hilarious.
day,
Alex
I-
Jones is either the best character actor of our time or a fucking
See,
psychopath.
that's what I was about to say. I don't know if it's like all serious or not. If he's just like he's just gassing it up a little bit.
goblin.
8 goblins. She smells like sulfur. And a lot of the shit I don't take for legit shit. But before
No.
9/11, he exposed Bohemian Grove, which is a huge, like, it's not celebrity, but rich people are in this fucking cult.
Oh yeah, I did hear a little bit about that.
Bohemian Grove. He snuck into Bohemian Grove. Like, people don't do that.
Yeah, like-
You don't get into the secret societies unless they want you to. Alex Jones somehow got into Bohemian Grove and videoed it.
And
Yeah,
what
he
happens?
had,
and
like,
what happens to a guy like
videos
Alex
of him,
Jones?
like,
They
burning
paint him
an
as a
idol.
psychopath, so nobody believes him.
Which most of the shit he says
Yeah,
is
he is
granted,
dumb as fuck.
granted, he is a psychopath.
He
He is a psychopath.
He is fucking
But
insane.
he is
but,
right
like,
about some shit. He's
Yeah.
right about some shit.
I mean, you know what they say about broken clocks?
they're right.
They're
Two
right.
times
Two
a day.
times a
Right?
day.
Twice a
Yeah.
day. It just this one's about a couple more times than twice.
This one's a bit more volatile.
Yeah,
but, you know.
It's he's been in some heat lately, and I totally am behind it. Fucking hit the heat, but
I know he's in court, but I don't know why.
he's in court because of the Sandy Hook stuff.
Yeah, he has some,
Yes,
some
that,
Sandy Hook.
yeah, I
things.
remember that.
Justified. So,
Yeah.
He waddles into some areas that he probably shouldn't.
well, he's gotten his audience this way, and I wish I've went back and watched old Alex Jones. He's very different. Very different.
Old Alex
because
Jones?
Old Alex Jones from the 90s when internet was first a fucking
I
thing.
did not know that existed. if
Bro,
I'm being
he was
honest.
shipping VHSs of fucking InfoWars, right? He got Bohemian Grove and 9/11 hot off the fucking presses. That's the only conspiracy theory I buy into is 9/11 was fucked from the. And I'm not saying it didn't happen. That is a thing that people have been throwing on conspiracy theories is that they're saying it didn't happen. That is not true. 9/11, so many people fucking died. It was a fucking tragedy. It was one of the worst things it was literally the worst thing to happen in American history. And
I don't agree with that.
what do you think is the worst thing that happened in
In American history.
American?
Slavery.
Okay, I'm talking in.
That's kind of apples and oranges a
I
little
mean,
bit.
It's entirely different. Yes, I understand slavery was an
We're
awful
talking
thing.
worst like lives
In
lost.
terms of events,
and-
I guess.
I guess.
Okay,
I'm
I
sure
thought-
there
I
was
thought you meant
plenty of
just
slavery
historically. I
lives
was like-
lost
I was like,
and
Jesus
slavery
Christ.
was an overtime thing that happened
like in a day.
Awful decisions, but you know the amount of fucking people that lost their lives off of an instant from 9/11. It is our national security from a country unknown. At the time, we didn't know who this was. We didn't know if more was coming. The whole country was in a fucking freeze frame. We had no idea what was happening at this point. And do I think that our government was involved in it? Yes, I do. I do think that at least they knew about it. I think that they knew that it was going to happen. Whether they know if they could stop it or not, or if they were involved, I don't know, and I don't have an opinion on it. What I do have an opinion on is that they knew. They knew that it was going to happen. And there's plenty of facts to back that information.
Well, see, more than anything, I just thought January 6th was stupid.
It was a bunch of children who didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Well, and to say that they fucking broke in, yes, they're all fucking stupid. They're dumb as fuck. Why would you ever do this?
It's the most ridiculous thing you could possibly do.
They were let in the building. It's not like they crashed a fucking plane into the goddamn building.
Yeah.
They were let into the building by local fucking security police.
Because what were they going to do? Clearly they had zero plan. It was clearly just like...
They had no plan. They had no plan. And I'm not saying the lives lost at January 6th. I think there was two,
maybe three. I don't know.
I'm not saying that wasn't important. That's big. Like, lives were lost there.
I don't give a
But
shit
you are
about
telling
them,
me two fucking towers of people just doing their day-to-day jobs go down because there's a discrepancy between countries.
Almost 10 is what this comes up with.
Almost 10.
Almost 10.
Just as
Okay,
bad.
now let's fact check. What's 9/11? How many deaths in 9/11?
Just as
No,
bad.
don't look that up.
Just-
I don't want to get
just
sad.
I want to know. I want to know that fact. This is important to what we're speaking about. We don't get into politics on SchmutzCast, but this isn't really politics.
And I really
This is-
don't like how political this is.
This is humanity.
It's not even political.
Do you want to close your ears before I say this number?
No, I'll hear
What's
it.
the number?
2,996.
See, that's a lot.
In an instant.
See, that's
in
a lot.
fucking instant.
I
They
hate
didn't all
planes,
die
too.
momentarily.
What's even worse is like not even in an instant. Some people just died in wreckage, waiting to be
And
saved.
some people had to make the decision of dying in this building that is falling or jumping out of it.
Yeah, just as bad.
Yeah.
You're telling me that January 6th is just as bad as this event.
Just as bad.
You are dumb as fuck if you tell me that. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Tell him, Papa.
I'm telling him. If you have that opinion, I'm sorry. I don't respect that opinion whatsoever. I think it's dumb as fuck.
I didn't know that was an existing.
That's
opinion.
insane.
I didn't either.
It's a very existing opinion, and I've heard it from people that we know.
Like,
I'll get off the topic, but that is something I feel really strongly about, and I feel
You
like
got hot there for a second,
well,
buddy.
it bothers me because yes, we weren't like super like sentient beings at the time. We were very young. You're a couple years older than us. How old were you?
I was in 90. I was 6.
It was in.
You were 6.
It was in
Six.
2001.
I was 3. So, and you were 3. You were probably 2.
I was 2.
So we didn't experience that when it happened, but all the
Well, the older
all
I've gotten, the more and more I've kind of learned about it. You know,
it's one of those things
when
that
you're a kid, they don't like teach you all the like hard details about it. They just like, yeah, they flew a plane into a building.
What I
but, like,
remember is that I remember it was a really bad day and it was a really
Yes.
sad day. And
Yes.
no one really gave me more than that. And I didn't get the full story
that's
until
exactly
years
how mine
later.
was.
And I was
literally
just like,
talked to my parents about.
and I was
9/11
literally
the
just
other
like,
day.
shit.
In American history, there has been nothing that has not only been that crazy, but like brought the country together in such a way. Like, I don't think at this point in our society that there will, even if 9/11-2 happened, Electric Boogaloo, you know, that was a bad time to enter a meme. Well,
Jesus.
if 9/11-2 happened, and I don't think our country would align like it did in 2001.
Not anymore.
I don't think it happens like that anymore. It was
That's the
such a
thing,
crazy
though.
thing.
I just really just want people to just to chill. And
Yeah,
just
it's like,
bro,
if you,
trust me,
I swear,
I
if you
know.
talk to 9 out of 10 people, boots on the ground, they're just like whatever in the
Yeah.
middle. But it's the loud minority of both sides that give you this negative opinion
Yes.
of the other
Yeah.
people. And if people would just get off the internet for 10 minutes and talk to somebody, you'll realize we're not all that different.
all
Yes,
the people
we're
in
really
the gray
not.
areas
We're
are
really
just
not.
kind of quiet.
Yeah.
And that's,
And,
I
you
don't
know,
like that. Like,
SchmutzCast believes
it
in
hurts me.
unison. Human unison.
We're all
Let's
together
get
here.
together here. let's get together. Let's if we have differing opinions, I don't know why in the past couple of years differing opinions has become a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem. If you don't believe one side, the other side hates you. If you don't believe that side, the other side hates you.
Yeah, but with SchmutzCast, we don't really want to fucking.
I'm not saying what side I'm on.
No. I mean, actually, like, debate.
I'm not debating these things.
No,
My
I'm not.
debate, there is no debate that 9/11 is a more fucking American tragedy than January 6th.
I think what he's
Yeah, no,
asking is
I'm
that
not
like
disagreeing with that.
just keeping everything apolitical, like just
Yeah,
it's a people issue.
just
It's not a
straight down the
politics
line,
issue.
yeah.
My politics solely lands on what keeps the most people alive and comfortable.
Yeah.
So
That's what
9/11 had more deaths. It's more of an important issue than January 6th because the amount of lives lost. And that is where my politics stands. I don't give a fuck about the opinions of either side. I don't think there should be a side. If there is an importance to keep our people comfortable and healthy, that's what I want. If it means somebody being equal, that's what I want. Somebody being comfortable in their own skin in comparison to me. I'm comfortable in my own skin. There's people out there that aren't. I want them to be. I want everyone to feel comfortable with being a human and living a life that we all get to live. We all got put on this rock against our fucking against our will, right? We didn't get to choose this. We're fucking here. So I want everybody to have an equal experience of this human experience. If that means telling people they can't have fucking rocket launchers in their house, I'm okay with that. If it means saving fucking lives, I'm okay with that. My opinion goes left, right, center. It doesn't matter because I don't see that. I see it as what makes people more comfortable in their own bodies and being able to live a life of free will.
You see each
'Cause that's what-
situation independently rather than seeing it as like a left or right viewpoint. Like
I don't
what a lot
see
of
it as
people-
having an opinion. I think everybody.
No,
Okay,
no, no,
this
no,
is
no.
this is an opinion.
I'm
I
not
think
disagreeing
everybody
with
should
you.
have the opinion that life matters more than social issues to me. Like whatever keeps us alive. I feel like we lost that as a society.
like quality of life.
And like everything
Like
has
quality of
quality of
life.
life, yeah.
Our quality of life's gotten better for some and stayed bad for others. Once we get to this equilibrium that I hope that one day we can get to, I know that there's some social injustices that fucking suck for people that are not my color, and I feel so fucking bad that I can't do more than what I'm doing now. But the whole thing is that once we get to this equal point, that's what it needs to be. It needs to be where all humans are living not only equal, but living comfortably, getting to this quality of life that we have this technology to get to. And it just, it sucks. It sucks because humans are fucking animalistic people. We're awful species. We've ruined our planet. We've ruined our fucking people. Like, humans suck dick.
in general, yeah.
I'm sorry to get so fucking deep on this, but I feel really strongly about this.
Yeah, it's
I
just-
feel very strongly.
It's just everything has become solely us versus them, and everyone's just kind of forgot about thinking about the buddy next to you.
Exactly.
Like that's what it's supposed
like,
to be.
If Jordan has the entire opposite opinion of me, not only do I want to talk about it, I want us to both understand that we can both have those opinions and still want the best for our species.
Well, also it would be like a quality conversation too. Like
Yeah.
it would be. There's not many things that we disagree on in terms of like shit like that, but like it would be civil, like a civil conversation where it's like, oh, okay,
So each side of the coin, I've seen a lot of videos of each side of the coin saying they wish death upon the other side of the coin.
yeah, like
that's the part that I don't like.
What is the point of that? That
Yeah.
ruins democracy. That makes it to where one say one side got their left or right. Say one of them got their way and the other side is gone and there's only one way. That's not a democracy. That's just fucking communism in like just how it lands.
Well,
I
it's
mean,
just hatred. Like it's just hatred. Like,
it's just the
that's
fact
what
of like,
I don't like. I don't
why
like
is
pure
it
hatred.
in every human civilization we try to eradicate the side? This isn't a new thing. In human societies, it's been a known thing that one side gets to a higher population and they eradicate the other side. I mean, you can even say like, I don't know, with like the Holocaust. I mean, like that was the overwhelming majority of the German population with Nazism and thinking that the Jews were the problem. So it's been a common theme in society that we just go after the side that is not ours. And I wish, as humans, we wouldn't fucking do that. It brings us all backwards in time every time.
Well, it literally just it boils down to not wanting to talk to people you don't like. Like that's
I
what
feel
it
like
is.
that stems the problem.
People get so used to being in their echo chambers and not going outside of their normal box.
Touch grass, bro.
And
Touch
yeah,
grass.
it's like, just go talk to somebody. Go talk to somebody that doesn't agree with you. Here's a key example. At work, I'm very good friends with the... Shout out, Mikey.
Shout out Mikey.
I'm very good friends with a guy.
Mike.
We worked together for close to a year before he knew that like I was like a Christian. And I knew that he wasn't exactly an atheist, but like he knows there's something out there, but he doesn't exactly agree with Christianity. We're still friends. He calls me a Yahweh simp, and I call him a Reddit neckbeard atheist. But like,
amazing.
But
that's the discourse we need.
But we're still friends.
See, that's funny.
We still play games together.
That's kinda funny.
We're still friends. We're not killing each other. We don't. Yeah, we don't like just not talk to each other. We don't hate each other. We're friends. We have differing opinions, and that's it.
I feel like that should be a thing.
That's what it's supposed to be. But everything
man.
has become us versus them, and they're not right, we're right because X, Y, Z. And until people just stop and talk to one another and just get rid of all the fucking white noise that we hear day to day, then we'll realize nobody's that different.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll disagree on some stuff, but who doesn't?
That's huge because the internet has become a thing of like you said, an echo chamber of where your worst opinions or your best in your mind opinions go straight out on the internet because you only have a certain amount of characters to drop this shit, right? To drop this thing that you have in your mind, right? So it's like you don't get to have that discourse with somebody that you would in person, where you would talk to somebody and be like, you know what, I get where you're coming from, but this is what I think. And you just kind of have that opinion. Like, I've had so many friends. From my first job out of high school, I was really cultured to different cultures. I was friends with people that practiced Hinduism, Buddhism, a guy that practiced the Jehovah's Witness religion. And like,
See, that shit's very interesting.
I got all these different perspectives of how
yeah.
the human experience works. Like how they see it, how I see it. I don't see that they're wrong. I don't see that I'm wrong. I don't see that anybody's really wrong. We all have a differing way of how we go through this fucking time on this rock. Like, everybody's opinion is different. So let me drop this one on you. So this isn't really, it kind of is a thought experiment. Yeah, I burped and tried to hold it in. Sorry.
That's not what I was laughing at.
That was a mistake.
I was just like, let me drop this one on you.
Let me, as the Schmutz man himself, let me drop this on you. So think about it this way. This one kind of fucked me up recently. It's from a thought experiment that I read it, but also there's a lot of different shit with it. So I'm just going to drop it as is in my head. So the character, John Will, I'm going to go directly at you. John Will.
Oh, no.
The character that you see, think of your life as a story, as a movie, right? The character you see you as is not the character I see you as at all.
That's one of the most interesting things to me is like how people
Jordan
see
sees
different
you
things.
Is
Yeah.
not the way I see you. The way Spencer sees you is not the way I see you. And it's not the way you see you. These characters are all different. So which one's the right one? Which one is you? Because your opinion of yourself is probably going to be a little better than other people's opinions, or it may be worse, depending on your mental state. Which character's right? Is my version of you the right one, or is Jordan's version of you the right one? Or are any of them the right one?
See, I think a lot of it's nature too. Because if we're talking about thought experience, have you heard of the Stanford prison experiment?
Oh shit!
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Have you heard of that?
I would like to know about it.
So basically, what it was they took like so many samples, almost like people, and they split them up. One was prisoners, one was guards, basically, and they kept them in like kind of like a faux prison, and as it kept going on, I can't remember how long like it went on, but it went on for a while.
It went on for like weeks.
Yeah,
and it just
and the guards like almost developed a
they got like this superiority complex.
Yeah,
They started
superiority
beating the fuck out of the
yeah,
prisoners.
they started being like almost martial at them. Like it was like crazy shit. And they were just students. Like they were just normal students.
This was before the whole human experiment thing. Like they kind of did this under the radar, and that experiment was the reason we have those guidelines and laws today. Because shit just devolved into absolute insanity. Like they've made movies about it.
Yeah.
The whole thing. I mean, it's just like it's insane.
See, that's one of my favorite like thought experiences. Like, because I know we've been talking about so many thought experiences today, like just that nature part of it, where you get put in that position where it just completely changes the way that you would typically act to the way that you end up acting whenever you're in that situation.
Yeah. I think that's a big thing about prison reform too. Like it. Obviously, I won't get into specific topics because, like I said, I don't want to get this too political. But like, there's certain things that people go to prison for that I don't believe they should go to prison for, and there's certain things that they're in prison for that they are beat or some stabbed to death in prison for things that realistically I don't think should even be crimes in itself. That's to exclude like murder and all that, but like there's certain crimes that we see in this country, like to even think. So I've been watching the John Gacy tapes on
Oh Jesus!
on Netflix.
Yeah.
So sodomy. Does everybody understand what sodomy is?
Yeah.
On paper, I get it. Yeah.
Sodomy. John Wayne Gacy, and I'm not backing John Wayne Gacy in any fucking way. The dude was a psychopath, a piece of shit, awful fucking human being. The first time he went to prison was for sodomy, which is anal or oral sex of any kind, male, female, anything. So if John, in the 50s, if you got a blowy and you were caught by the police, you could get up to 10 years in prison.
Yikes.
Sodomy. That was in our grandparents' lifetime that sodomy was illegal. Illegal. Getting a blowy was illegal. So think of how our laws as humans fucking change. And we're putting people in prison for years for things that in 20 years from now, they're not even going to get a fucking citation for. It's crazy. It's crazy that we have all these laws, and yes, I get we need these laws to keep everybody like chilled out and fucking controlled, but it's a certain point of like, when do you let people be people? And like, obviously you can't allow murder, you can't allow rape, you can't allow things that adults aren't willing to do themselves.
I mean, what was that one state that just said like all drugs are cool? You know what I'm talking about?
There's Oregon.
Oregon, that's what it was. They were just like
Decriminalized, yes.
everything. Like what?
Well, there was a big thing, like I think it was Portugal. They had a really bad problem with overdoses, and they just completely decriminalized every single drug, like every single drug. But that opened up the opportunity to recognize it almost as a disease, where like you wouldn't get arrested, rather you would be sent to medical treatment for addictions. And their overdose rate and like addict rate completely like declined.
That's wild.
Yeah, that was a very interesting thing to me, because I know a lot of places are like decriminalizing whatever the shrooms
Psychedelics.
Yeah,
psychedelics. I can't remember the exact word for shrooms, but it was like psychoclobin or something like that. Psilocybin. But if you actually like decriminalize everything, it almost like accepts it.
Yeah, because how many kids are starting drugs because it's a bad thing to do? There's a thing with children; they're susceptible to doing things they're not supposed to do. Like if you tell them they're not supposed to do something, there's probably a 50% chance that they're gonna fucking do it. And I think, I truly think that decriminalizing those things may make it. Yeah, we're still gonna have overdoses. We're still gonna have bad drug issues.
It's always gonna happen.
You're not gonna completely get rid of those.
Yeah.
No, but I think in generations to come, say we decriminalize all these things, if in generations to come, kids aren't gonna see it as something bad. Ooh, do it one time, man, it'd be cool. It's not gonna be like that anymore. It's gonna be like, yeah, you could do it. You might fuck up your fucking brain, but I mean, you can do it if you want it.
Yeah, but I almost feel like we're getting towards that now, though. Especially with like crack and like fucking heroin and shit. Like people are starting to see it in the light of like how fucked up it can actually be.
Well, yeah, and like I totally get exposing a drug for being like such a bad thing for your body.
Yeah, because
But in the same
only
right,
see
you
it
need
in
to
a
be
bad
like
light.
that brings a free will aspect to it. Yes, you have the free will to do it, but should you? Right now we have it of you don't have the free will to do it, so you shouldn't do it. And how many fucking kids I know as a kid I was like, I want to do everything that people tell me not to do. Because I was a piece of shit, I was a delinquent. All of these fucking kids are delinquents.
You piece of shit delinquent,
There's
you.
plenty of kids that aren't delinquents, but those are the kids we called the nerds. And people bullied kids like that. And you don't want that to happen in fucking schools.
Like,
Yeah.
I have a crazy thing with that because this is hilarious, but this is maybe controversial to some people, but whatever.
Bring it on.
This has been a hard podcast for that type of thing. So
We
Let it
have
fly.
at it. I
by
guess.
not by intention, we don't pursue it actively, but we try not to alter our language too much around the kids. Like we'll still let a curse slip every now and then. Like if I stub my toe, drop something like shit. And then it's not a big deal. Like he's not going around fuck shit like whatever.
Yes.
He'll use it in context. 3 years old, perfect context. He's got a handful of blocks. He drops it. He goes, shit. Like I can't be mad at him. That's the right way to say it. But if it's just like regular language, he's not gonna go running around with his friends because he knows he's doing something he shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
It's just normal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
So that brings on another parenting level of like, what do you do as a
yeah,
parent?
because if you take away all that power from something, it's just a word.
Yeah.
It's just a word.
That's something that's very applicable to a thought that I've recently had because I'm an assistant coach on an athletic team, and the head coach is very against cursing in general. It's a high school athletics team, like it's a varsity team, and he's very against cursing in general.
When we were coaches, we were not against cursing.
I know you guys
No, we weren't.
They were in high school. Fuck, I was dropping F-bombs and every bomb known to man.
But
when I was in high school,
what I'm saying
fuck
though, he will literally like bench a player if they curse during a game. Like if he hears them curse during the game, like he'll be like, all right. But the thing is, I know whenever I was in high school, I cursed a lot. So like it's not
You take the power away from the word, it's not as enticing.
cursing is such a dumb thing too, because like it makes no sense.
What makes that word worse than another?
It's rude. Like
Okay,
that is what it is.
So I'm going
It's
to go
just
ahead and
rude.
say there are
That's-
certain words that go at specific people that those are very wrong words
Well,
to use.
that goes without saying.
But there are certain words that don't go at specific people, like fuck. Like why is that even a fucking word?
It has this weight because we
Little
gave
bit
it
of
that
flavor.
weight.
We gave it the weight. We
Like
gave it
I
that
grew up
weight.
in a household that was so anti-cursing, I couldn't
Same.
say like dumb or something out of crazy
I
that
wasn't
hard.
I wasn't
It
that
wasn't
Crazy,
that bad.
crazy. But like the first time I said fuck, it was like euphoria because I'm like, this is something I was not supposed to do
I remember
for
the first time I said fuck.
for a decade, and I was
It
like,
from Mario Kart.
but
You remember the exact first time
I
you
shit
said
you
it?
not. I remember the exact time I said fuck out loud for the first time. It was because some stupid shit happened on Mario Kart, and I was mad as fuck as like a little 11-year-old
Red
or
Shell,
something like that.
but then as time went on, I'm like, I probably said it way too much because I'm like I knew I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing.
Shouldn't have been doing.
But now it's like a word, and I use it when I get a little animated sometimes. Like that's it.
That's it.
It's just a
fun
word. It's
to
just a
use.
word.
And it even goes to that as like, why is it a fun word to use? Because it was said to be such a bad word. How many times would I say fuck if it wasn't a bad word? Probably not as much as I do now. But it's a product of the time in a way that like I don't feel like any words that are in general like so shit always points to a bad thing or literal shit like a turd. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that word opposed to poop or crap? Oh, that's a fucking poopy drawing. That thing looks so crappy. That thing looks so poopy. It's the same.
It looks so poopy.
You are a poopy looking
It
dude.
sounds so much better than saying like that was Bumblebee.
Like
That was shit.
But it's the same. It's the
Challenge.
same word.
Challenge for everyone this week. Try to use all those normal words.
Fuck no.
It's just to see
no.
people's reactions.
no. Heck no.
Darn it!
But see, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Imagine
That's
the
what it
timeline
is.
100 years from now where like fuck, shit, whatever is like the normal word, but then you say like crap, dang is like the no word.
Everybody's
He
saying
said
cunt all the
dang.
time.
Oh God!
Bro, I
would-
watched the Uncharted movie, and it's a PG-13 film.
I couldn't
I
watch
loved
it.
the movie.
Yeah.
I
love
will
the
say I
games.
loved it.
I love the games. I couldn't bring myself to watch the
I
movie.
loved the movie. I think they did justice to the games enough to where it's not the same as the games,
Really?
but it's a
I
little
just-
different.
Huh.
I just think Tom Holland's a goof.
He's
I
a
like-
goof.
I kinda like
but
Tom
when,
Holland.
I gotta
I
say,
like Tom
when the
Holland.
man is falling off of a plane onto some packages, you've seen this in the trailer.
Everybody's seen it.
All
Yeah,
the
I saw it in the
packages that
trailer.
are falling, all this weight, these big pallets of fucking shit, and he falls and he says, "Oh crap." I cringed so hard because no fucking human being is gonna say "oh crap" in that situation.
Bro.
They're gonna say "oh fucking shit."
Dude. So you know how they made a Guardians of the Galaxy video game? Mm-hmm. I've been recently playing it the last few days. So
I thought
instead
it was
of,
duty.
I thought it was fucking great.
I did not like it.
Really?
I thought it was
Final
regardless,
Fantasy with fucking Guardians of the Galaxy skins.
regardless. They replace fuck with flark, and they say it a lot.
Oh,
they
see,
say it a lot.
that's my
They'll be
thing.
like-
if you're gonna go to the effort of replacing it, don't.
Just
But
use it.
that's
Just
not the only
use
one
the
either. That's not the
fucking
only. They have another one for damn, but I can't remember what it was. But then like they replace
Dagnabbit.
they replace shit with scut. And they replace it a lot, and there's so many times where like I'm
gotta
like
pop the seal. I'm sorry,
you
you
might
continue.
as well just say it because a lot of times it sounds
Yes! Yes! Farted directly on the mic.
you disgusting piece of shit.
You're gonna get
really
pink eye
hope-
now.
I really hope that you can't hear that in the fucking actual recording.
I hope they hear it.
I hope they hear it too.
I heard that.
I'm assuming you couldn't hear it, but he yelled from the distance. I hope you could hear it too.
No,
so if
no,
you-
they could definitely hear it.
Hell yeah.
could you hear it?
Oh,
authenticity.
definitely.
We probably need to be wrapping this
I
up
gotta,
pretty
I
soon.
gotta
though.
pee too, but I also gotta get back to my wife and kids. So like,
Hey,
hey, are you liking the podcast? Chime in, send in questions, send in emails, share to your friends.
since Timberlake's not here,
We're all having a good time.
we're probably gonna start wrapping it up pretty soon. I'm Jordan. I would like to thank our guest Spencer today.
It's been a pleasure, boys. Been a real dandy.
Our first guest, honestly, it was a very interesting podcast. more than normal.
Yeah, it went off the rails a couple times there.
It did. We normally kind of avoid political shit, but like, it wasn't like, typically whenever shit kind of gets political, it's one side. But I feel like this was pretty.
It definitely wasn't a red or blue
It
conversation.
was kind of straddling the line.
Yeah.
We're not gonna make that often.
This is
But-
the edgy episode.
But regardless, I want to appreciate our guest Spencer. He brought a lot of good insight, especially with.
Calling it?
I'm wrapping it up a little
I got a
bit.
family to get back home to.
Okay. All right. Have you already done an outro? How
No,
is this going?
No.
like a quarter of an outro.
So
But he did all his research. He brought these interesting thoughts to the
I stumbled on my
podcast.
words a little bit, so
I
apologies.
didn't
for
even
that.
notice. I
I
didn't
didn't
notice. If I'm
notice
being
shit.
honest.
But
Shit, what the fucking
if you're
way to go.
if you guys like the low tier schizo content, send that into the Papa. Maybe I'll be coming back around. For
More
too
than like
long.
we'll probably have you back. I liked it a lot. I thought it was interesting stuff.
Thank you to David Harbour for showing up.
Thank you so much. I don't like a lot of people knowing that, but
I want everybody to know that David Harbour is the chief. What's his last
Chief
name?
of Police
What's his last name?
Hopper.
Chief Hopper from Stranger Things. Tell me this man doesn't look like Chief Hopper.
Holy shit.
Yep.
Holy
Blow your fucking
shit.
mind.
Yep.
Blow your fucking mind.
I am in.
Especially in the new season.
Yeah, now I'm
If you haven't seen the new
I
season.
don't know if you could tell from like the video, but
Yeah.
Can you go up like
the
close to the
resemblance is
camera?
uncanny.
Like,
I can
mean,
do a fast zoom.
Can
right
you
now.
can you like get a picture of Hopper
I
ready
didn't realize
and then
until
just
now,
switch it
but-
to
I
that?
tell you what. In the little thumbnail you do for the episode, just put a picture of Hopper there.
Holy
Don't
shit.
describe
Podcast with
it.
Chief Hopper.
I did not realize.
You know,
that
because
till-
that's funny. It took this long because everybody I fucking meet is like, you look like David Harbour.
I did not realize that till now.
There's Dad. There's me.
There's Dad.
There's Dad.
Holy shit.
Especially when he had the stash going,
Yo,
bro. It was
dude,
fucking insane.
I dressed up as as Hopper for Halloween
You
one
have
time
to.
when he had the floral shirt on, and like I cut it down to the mustache,
So I
and
think
I
this
had
means
so many
that,
people. Yep, there's the shirt. There's me.
God damn.
That's just me.
Tell me this man doesn't look like...
Are you on Stranger Things?
Look at the
No,
picture.
yep,
I look
that's
at
me.
the picture and look at. I
There's
can't
Dad.
look at you now if I'm being honest.
There's Dad.
With that picture up on the screen, I
Yup,
can't look
that's
at
me.
you.
That's me.
Oh, let's get even better.
Look at that handsome man right
Holy shit, Spencer.
there. That handsome man. Forehead and everything.
Especially,
Yep, there he is.
especially
Holy
season
shit.
4.
There he is.
Tell me
That's me.
that this man does not look like
That's me.
David Harbour.
And we both got eyes like the ocean, baby.
Spencer. That,
If I looked like that at that age, I'm set.
I hope you don't look like this.
I
What
mean,
the fuck is
well,
that?
not bad.
That is photoshopped as fuck. Whatever the fuck that is.
that's crazy.
that's me.
I did not realize.
Bro, what are
that
you
till
talking about?
said
Look, that looks so real.
That's
Come
me.
over.
That's me.
I don't know if
So,
it
yeah.
translates with the video or not,
So, yeah.
but like he.
Oh, 100%. It's
look
gonna
at me.
translate. Hopper, back the fuck up, bro. I can't believe it took you all this long.
It took me so long. I did
Yeah.
not realize that. That is so crazy.
Everybody I talk to
Can-
for more than a couple hours, it always comes up.
Can you
That's so
can you do something for
crazy.
me, please?
Hit me.
Can you yell 3 inches?
3 inches, L. 3.
3 inches. Tell me that's not fucking.
Today's word is brat. B-R-A-T.
It's unfucking parallel. I brought a celebrity to the pod. I want everybody to know it.
sound like it, bro.
I can't believe we didn't get on this point at some point.
I don't know
Wait,
why you didn't bring that up till we got.
Well, we had to end on a high note because this episode was heavy as fuck.
I'm
Sorry.
so glad it got brought up.
Sorry for the heaviness of this episode. This was SchmutzCast 5. Thank you all for tagging along with this. This is.
Do this after we
gotta-
fucking sign off, okay? You gotta do that shit right now.
I don't know.
I gotta show my brother.
So you gotta have Richard watch the pod if he doesn't already. Thanks for watching. I'm on Schmutz Gaming on YouTube. That's where the podcast is currently going. Our main focus right now is the podcast. I'm working on a real banger of a fucking video to show you all.
Let's go.
It's taken a lot of work. It's like triple to 4 times as much the work as difficulty versus enjoyment, and everybody told me that looked fucking great. Wait till you fucking see this one.
Oh.
It's a biggin'. It's gonna be great. I've put a lot of work into it. Hope you guys like it. SchmutzCast will be back next week with our boy Thomas Filmer. We've got
baby.
The
Thomas
modern
Filmer
epilogue.
next
The
week.
modern epilogue with Thomas Filmer and Wyatt Shirley.
Yeah, go check out that pod. It's probably going to be, this one was a heavier thought experiment type, like getting in your head type episode. The next one's probably going to lean more music. We've been away from the music since episode 1, and that's okay. It's going to be a reoccurring topic.
We
on
try
the
to keep it
pod.
fresh.
But Filmer will be here. Can't wait to have him. Week following Wyatt Shirley. And breaking news, keep up with the Papa Schmutz Twitter account. You're going to be getting a little bit of news about a new one-on-one podcast extravaganza. This is just going to be me and my boy, Spencer Cornwell.
Oh shit!
Oh, baby.
This news
Coming
to me.
hot off the
shit.
presses.
That's gonna be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's gonna be
yeah.
real
Talking about all kinds of crazy shit.
What we get into, we just gotta wait and find out.
So if you like this episode, you better start watching the 1v1s. I don't know what we're going to call it yet, but it's going to be something spicy, and I can't wait for y'all to see it.
Tune in for
Hell
more
yeah.
David Harbour content.
David Harbour's going to be on the pod very soon.
I have nothing to plug. Don't follow me on anything. I won't accept it. I don't post anything on social media ever. But
We call him Dad Dude.
it's been a pleasure.
I mean,
Thank
I
you
didn't
guys
think
so much.
Hopper had social media in the 80s. Just
I
saying.
really appreciate episode 5 being our first guest is fucking huge. And like I told you, I always wanted you to be the first guest, and you came through.
Delivered.
You were a fucking focal point of the pod. We couldn't have gotten through this one without you, and hope to see you again very soon. Jordan, what do you got to plug?
As always, EP 500 is coming up.
We got a new song just developed.
yeah.
Quite interesting. Can't wait for that.
I'm about halfway done. And then the easy shit starts coming, and it's coming up. So keep on the lookout. I'm gonna start putting shit on my reels and stuff on my Instagram. It's Jordan.Werner on Instagram. You're gonna be seeing shit pop up soon of development type things. So keep a lookout.
Bing, 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 bong. John Will, plug something.
Hey, September 10th, if you're in the southern Indiana area, or if you decide to ever go to Heritage Weekend and you know a little bar that's right there on the strip of Hogs Tavern, September 10th, the time slot is pending, but I will be there Saturday, and there will be a new face on the stage with me. So that's something that you all haven't seen yet. You all haven't heard about a new
Let's
face.
not leak the name. Let's make everybody show up.
No, you got to show up to see who we got. We got a
not
special.
gonna be there.
We got a
I
special
gotta
guest
say,
coming up
he's
on
sexy. Something about him.
about him.
That's what I was wondering.
Whoa!
Anyways,
Whoa, whoa, that's a good way
So,
to end it.
Yeah, I'll show out. Hey, Johnny Will Music, and you'll be getting the details for it.
This has been SchmutzCast episode 5. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hope you come back next week. Got a lot of shit coming soon. Appreciate y'all, and I'll catch you on the flipper.
Later, taters.